kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get under the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Yeah, all right. What is happening? Who wants to talk some quarterbacks, huh? Who wants to wonder about who our quarterback will be? I got some ideas. I'm thinking maybe, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers, man? Let's talk about some Aaron Rodgers tonight. Maybe some, Derek Carr. Let's talk about Derek Carr. Ooh, maybe we can bring up some Jimmy G tonight. What is happening? That's what we're going to do. Let's try to find ourselves a way through that friggin' malaise, that morass, that swamp, and talk about some actual Jets happenings and news. I am GreenBean. This is the Thursday thick of it. And believe it or not, I'm in a fantastic New York Jets mood, man. I feel like things are going in the right direction. I feel positive, everybody. I'm happy to see all of you guys here. You're rolling in. I can see it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you guys here. Again, this is going to be a fun show. We have a few guests for you tonight. And by few, I mean two. Does that work? I think few is three or more, isn't it? So we have a few guests. We have Luke from Play Like a Jet is going to come on with us in just a few minutes. We're excited to have him back. He's been here a few times, and we'll talk about the analytical side of things with Luke. We will also be having our good friend Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio on as well. Another friend of the show, man. I've been listening to Tyson for years, man. Started at the same place I did. Tyson was with Jetnation. I'm with Jetnation. So we have that. You know what I mean? Not everybody has that, but Tyson and I do. And we're excited to get into that. Before I get into our regular guest, he's not a guest anymore. We talked about this last week. He's got access to the fridge. We'll bring him on in just a second. I want to just take this time to remind you about our sponsor, guys. This is the sponsored show by Manscaped. Manscaped, the finest and below the waist men's grooming, has dipped their toes into the beard game. Oh, I can't wait to see how they're doing. I got to check up with them and see how they're doing. But you guys know all about the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker, and so many other products. Well, now they have the Beard Hedger. The Beard Hedger, the trimmer made especially for beards. It comes with balms and oils and all sorts of beard products, the brushes, the combs, everything that you need to take care of your beard can now be supplied by the same company that you're taking care of your balls with. And Gunny, I'll tell you, you've been using the ball stuff for our faces and heads for years, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. But Manscaped, you can save 20% by clicking the link in the description, using the promo code GreenBean. When you get to checkout, 20% of your bill will disappear. Promo code GreenBean. Thank you. So without further ado, let's bring on our co-host, the ball trimmer for his head using fella, Gunny Gumby himself. What is up, Gunny? How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, Green Bean, I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good, man. Hey, listen, he's right. I used the ball trimmer on my face and on my head for years. So not gonna lie to you, I'm actually excited that Manscaped figured it out and got into the beard grooming game. So I guess it's a little bit less weird when you're using an actual trimmer designed for your face, not for your balls. So I appreciate them coming out with it.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. It's like, look, I mean, it was working. Honestly, it's the best trimmer I ever had. So It was working fine, but it is a little bit less weird to use something made for your beard, isn't it?
Facts. 100% facts.
It's the best, man. I want to say hello to E-Boogie in the chat here, banging it out with the stream beaner emojis. If you guys want to get in on that, I just added a new one. And then I think I'm now 2 people away from 3 more emojis. So that'll be fun. But you want to get in on the emoji game and the monthly super chats that are for free. They're called member super chats. You can do that by clicking the join button right below the video here, and that is greatly appreciated. E-Boogie has the most fun of anybody, I think. Our buddy Harry is here. It's Harry's birthday week. We've been telling him happy birthday all week. We're doing this Harry, this is like the wife way. My, wives always want a birthday week or a birthday month. We get a birthday half hour. Harry's been being celebrated all week, Gunny. It's really nice to see. 68 years old, 50 years of Jets fandom, and he's just as miserable as we are.
Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Harlan
got to
Abrams.
embrace the suck.
That's what's it. Exactly, man. And I got to meet Harry the same weekend that we all met together. Actually, Harry was at L&B with us. And that's right, man. It's weird. Sometimes it takes me a second again to put it all back together, but Harry was with us. That's right. You know Harry.
Very well.
Good dude. Jets Forever with his green heart. Getting us started. Thank you, Jets Forever. And as much as I disagree with I guess about 75% of your takes, I do appreciate you being here. You're very consistent, and the green heart is nothing but love. I love that. K Yeti's in the house. Ant-Man is here. Or Ant Jets 82. You're now Ant-Man. That's the last time I'm saying Ant Jets. I want you to know that. Ant-Man, you are. Jay-Z Jets in the house. Jets Paulie is here. Jet Freely, my new favorite Jet avatar here. Jet Freely's here. I like to have you around, buddy. That's nice. Lawrence Wapples is here. What's up, Lawrence? It's good to see you, man. Some real Jets talk. Imagine that. Gunny, I gotta say, dude, I have reached, and Y2K was talking about it briefly in the backstage before the show. But I have to agree, Gunny, I've hit that place. I've been tired of it for a few weeks, but I've hit that place where I'm really done with, and we don't even have anybody yet. Nothing's happened. Nothing could happen, and I'm done. Do you feel the same fatigue with the quarterback situation?
Hey, look, 1,000%. I've gotten to that point now as well. I think for me, the last straw was of course Aaron Rodgers coming out talking about like, hey, I'm not going to be like Brett Favre. I'm not going to drag this thing along. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be literally in that very moment. He's dragging this whole thing along, and it's making it about himself. And I got mad and almost insulted that he tried to say he wasn't going to do it while doing it in the same exact breath. I'm over it too. At this point, just give us Carr. Just bring Carr into the building. He apparently the meeting with him and Joe went really well. He seems to have an admiration for what the organization is doing and where it's headed. Let's just give the man his money. Let's get him into the building and let's kick off the free agent season already. I'm getting sick and tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers and his darkness retreat and whether or not he's going to retire and how much he's going to cost us. Give Carr the money. Let's move forward.
Yeah, well, look, Kareem agrees with you. And I'm there too. Look, the interesting thing is I've been there the whole time. It's not like, and I'm not saying that you haven't or whatever, but I've kind of felt like Carr was the safer option. Like, look, I'm all about the Aaron Rodgers day. If he says tomorrow, like, hey, man, I want to be a New York Jet. And Joe Douglas goes, well, good, because we already have a trade worked out anyway with the GM and it's done. I'm going to be happy as a pig in shit. I really am. But that all said, I've always kind of been on that Carr train. The interesting thing, our guest tonight, Luke, he's running a few minutes behind Gunny, but he's going to be here with us. Luke is just an exceptional play breakdown type of a content guy. I'm lacking the word. There's a word for it, but I don't know. I'll find it later. He's a play breakdowner, Gunny, and I find him to be someone that I think he finds the things that I find most interesting. Luke tends to focus on them, and the things that I find most important. And he's going to come on. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about quarterbacks, but we're also going to break that into some of the other Jets players and stuff as well. Because the other thing, Gunny, is that free agency is moments away, buddy. I mean, it's March 13th, right? I believe. Let me just make sure. NFL dates, important dates. Let me see. I just want to make sure here because I mix stuff up. Important dates. Here we go. I think it's March 13th is the that negotiation window. Yep. Period, Gunny. So today is March 2nd.
11 days.
Well, we have 11 days. 11.
That's it. That's all we got left.
Yeah, 11 days, everybody.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be appropriate to start talking about some free agent hopes and dreams, right? Do we have any beside quarterback? Can we talk about any other positions than maybe quarterback? Maybe you have some of your your hopes and desires that we can talk about today. Now, starting it off though, do you have, if I just threw one position out there that you're hoping that the Jets can take care of in free agency, who do you think, what do you think you want to do?
I'm actually a big a fan of this idea of potentially trading for Cortland Sutton. I don't know why all of a sudden doing more research on that. I'm starting to get a good vibe about that. He's young, still an explosive guy. He's got the size aspect to him. He could be a good complement to what we have in the wide receiver room. I hear a lot of people talking about drafting a wide receiver. I don't think any of these wide receivers are worth a first round grade. I know the kid from Ohio apparently is really high on a lot of people's list, but he was hurt the majority of the season, so we really don't know what kind of player you're getting at the NFL level. And again, at the NFL level, it is different. We can't say that enough. It is different from what you do in college. So lately, I find myself getting a little bit sucked into the whole Cortland Sutton potentially being a trade to the Jets as a potential option. So that would be where I'm at right now in terms of somebody I'm really excited about bringing into the house.
That's interesting. So now you're cutting Corey Davis then, and you're bringing over Cortland Sutton. Do you have on the top of your brain there? Do you know what Cortland Sutton costs? We did this a couple weeks ago, but
I want to say it was 10 million. I believe it is. He was slightly a little bit cheaper than Corey Davis, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, let's take a little look see here. So the Cortland Sutton right now is he's I don't know if you're gonna like this.
Oh. Okay.
His cap hit is 18.26 mil.
Okay.
Now I don't know how much of that maybe maybe they already paid or something. I don't know if I can see that, but 14 million. He's getting 14.5 million.
Okay.
This year with an 18.2 cap hit. So maybe if they trade him, you only pay the 14. Do you think he's that much of an upgrade over Corey Davis? You like him a little? I think I like Cortland Sutton better than Corey Davis.
I think I like Cortland Sutton better. And the reason being is when he's playing, the boy's playing, right? You don't see the drop issues you have with the Corey Davis, with Cortland Sutton. Now, there has been some, injury concerns and whatnot, but, what's the difference? Corey Davis has been injured the majority of his contract with us too. If you're going to go ahead and be on the field playing, I'd rather you not have a case of the drop season in big time situations. So for me, again, it was something at first I thought to myself, maybe he's not really worth the slight upgrade, but when you're looking at the potential impact he could have in our wide receiver room, as a compliment to a guy like Garrett Wilson, a compliment to an Elijah Moore, Breece Hall's coming back. You know what I'm saying? There's so many weapons that would allow him to potentially excel where he fits at as a possession guy. I like him a lot. I find myself kind of getting drawn to the idea of like, yeah, I'm okay with a trade potentially for him to be on the team.
All right. Well, I don't know. That's interesting. I'm seeing both in the chat here. We got I like him, and then I got no. So I think, again, it's going to be normal for Jets fans. That'll be our normal reaction. Now, the good news here, though, is that I see that our guest for the first hour here just popped in. So let's go ahead. Let's not wait any longer. If you're ready, are you good there, Luke? All right. So let's say hello to our good friend, man. Luke is back. What's up, Luke? How you doing?
How you going, GreenBean, gents? It's been a while. Not as focused on the draft this year. It feels like all the quarterback talk has kind of alleviated some of the tension around the Jets fans, which is kind of nice for a change. Still a way to go, but feeling good about this roster, and I'm excited for the offseason.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. And I think, I feel it in, among like the Jets social media, and everybody's kind of like with this quarterback thing. I was pointing out that on your Twitter page, I find it to be one of the more funny pages for me because when you put out your breakdowns, it's just funny, man. Like how you would point something factual out. People are like, no, like they don't like them or whatever. It's just, you get your ass kicked out there, man. You're like, you get hit harder than most, I think.
It's funny because Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers is probably my favorite non-Jets player over the last couple of decades. I think he's absolutely astounding. But to me, just Derek Carr's a better option. I'm weighing a lot of things into it. People are going, you just hate Aaron Rodgers. You're a hater. I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is my favorite. This is my guy. Like for the last 10 years, I would have loved for him to be our quarterback. If he is our quarterback, I am ecstatic. But I think there's a bigger picture. We have to look at everything. And just because I like Derek Carr doesn't mean I hate Aaron Rodgers. The dude is one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. And hey, I'll take either right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but there is no in between, man. There's no way. You're not allowed to like 2 things. You can't eat steak and cheesecake with this fan base, man. It's not allowed.
Not at all.
I want to just take a brief second. Last time you were with us, Frankie was our co-host, and Frankie had some job change, schedule stuff, so he's no longer here. And this is my buddy Gunny. I know Gunny follows you, but I don't know if you guys have met yet. So just wanted to take a second. This is Gunny, my new co-host, Situation Report. So hello,
Luke. It's a pleasure to meet. It's a pleasure to meet you virtually, my man. I love your analysis. I follow you on Twitter, man. And I think you put out some good stuff. So I'm glad to be talking with you football today on the show.
No, I appreciate it, man. Nice to meet you officially. The stuff you guys have been doing, and I said it last time I was on Green, the stuff, the community that you guys managed to pull together and just the fan base you have is awesome. It's good to see that positivity out there. It's a cesspool on Jets Twitter and Jets social media land, so it's good to have a bit of a different perspective from you guys, so I respect it. It's really good work.
Yeah, well, Luke, that's what happens when when I was a young, 20-year-old Jets fan in the stadium, the loud guy telling people shut their face. I never believed that I would be the calmer, positive, but it really does happen. You get old and you go, I don't know. You just go, it's okay. I think we're going to be okay. And now the younger Jets fans tell me I suck. But it's, you get old and you get mellow, I think. I think that's what happened, Luke. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Even last year, I kind of felt like the meltdown down the stretch didn't hit me as hard as it would have 3 to 5 years ago. If we were 7-3 or 7-4, whatever it was, and we had that meltdown, I would have been distraught. But you know what? I got on with my Monday morning every day, and life carried on. So I think it's going to be okay.
100%.
I mean, and look, and it was an epic collapse. I think, the thing with me, right, is I've seen a couple of these before. The Brett Favre collapse was bad. We were 8-3. We had just beaten the 10-0 Titans. And that they had Mawai, so we let Mawai go. We had Nick Mangold, we had Brett Favre, and we go into Tennessee. They were supposed to kill us. We beat the best team in the league, and we were flying high. We won one more game the rest of the season. And then there was the Pete Carroll. When Pete Carroll was our head coach, we were 6-4. We were playing Miami for the first place title in the AFC East. We were up 24-6 in the fourth quarter. I was dancing in the stands, literally dancing. All right, we're going to win. I thought we were the best team in the league. We lost that game. That was the fake spike game. We won 4 games over the next 2.5 seasons. We lost every game that season after the fake spike. And then we won 4 games in 2 years. So this was bad. It was. But maybe not as bad as it's been in the past. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just happens. You see it long enough. But I still think this team is good, Luke. I really do. I think that this team, we have a lot to be happy about, to be excited about. Would you agree? Is there anywhere that you find you rest your hat on as particularly exciting about the New York Jets where they stand now?
Look, here's the thing for me. The most relatable and consistent thing in the NFL from year to year is offense. And the Jets' offensive skill position players are the best they've been in 10 years to 2015. That was an aging one-off group. Realistically, it's the best group we've had in probably 15 years. That's exciting because year to year, sustainable is the offensive side of the ball. Defenses will fluctuate a little bit. It's great to have a good defense, but this is an offensive league. The Jets are in a position now where if they plug in a veteran quarterback and they get top 8 to 12 quarterback play, I legitimately think this is not just a playoff team, but a team that can win 2 or 3 playoff games in a season, and that's exciting. Obviously, the cornerback group is just fantastic. They're the best tandem in the NFL, and look, how exciting was it to see a position go from 31st in the league to the best with DJ and also Sauce. It's fantastic. Joe's done a really good job with that position. I found it interesting. I don't know where you were last year, Green, but looking at the discourse online where the Jets, Robert Saleh, that defense, they don't value corner, but you look at their stops and they've had Jalen Ramsey and they've had Richard Sherman, and every single time this defense has been elite along the NFL, they've had an elite corner. So they're an exciting group. Those 2 positions, well, kind of throwing running back and wide receiver and corner, they're elite. Just give us the quarterback and we're nearly there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great. I remember that conversation, man. Saleh doesn't value cornerbacks, right? We talked. Now, I want to say something. I have the NFL Network on right now. I just want to point out the interviewer is literally holding something into the player's ear so he can hear. She's stuffing. I don't know what the hell's going on. Somebody's got to find out what's happening because I can't hear it. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. She's interviewing him. She's holding shit in his ears. Anyway, that's bizarre. So look, here's how we're going to do that. I have a super chat here from Brian Scantleberry. And then Gunny, I know you got some questions for Luke as well.
I do.
And then Luke, we have Tyson coming on at 9. You're more than welcome to hang. If you got to run, that's fine too. But we'll try to do it this way. We have some real, we have some areas we'd like to touch on with you tonight. And first, I want to just say we were just talking about Courtland Sutton before you came in, wide receiver with the Broncos. And we were wondering, we're tossing around the idea if maybe he's an upgrade over maybe Corey Davis. Is it worth trading for? So anyway, we were talking about that. Gunny kind of likes that idea. I'm a little tentative. I'm not sure. I do like the player. But Scantleberry says he lives in Denver. It's not the same because since his injury, his speed is gone and he quits on plays. He sucks now. And it's just not because of Russell. Now, the Russell Wilson thing, the Nathaniel Hackett thing out there, there's a lot of reasons you can point to for a dip in production. But where do you stand with Courtland Sutton? Do you have any ideas? Is that a guy that you'd like to see brought to the Jets?
Look, I don't think he's an ideal fit when you look at scheme and what I know we've got a new coordinator, but we're still living in that West Coast realm, and you're not going to see that big a jump from LaFleur's offense to Hackett's offense. Look, I think Courtland Sutton's a fantastic player. I think the second year coming back from a major injury is always where you see the athletic development jump back up. I think he'll get an uptick in his speed. He's still a relatively young guy. What is he, 26 years old?
26.
Maybe off the top of my head.
Yep.
I think he's great. I think he's more of that kind of DK Metcalf style receiver on the boundary. He isn't going to wow you with his route running, but he can win at the contested catch point. He's a strong body. He's an upgrade over Corey Davis, no doubt in my mind. He's a much better football player. He's got better hands. He's a more complete receiver. Would I trade for him? Probably not. I think there's other ways the Jets can address the position, especially, depending on who lands at the quarterback position. But I think he's a fantastic player. I don't agree with Brian completely. I think there's still plenty left in the tank for Courtland Sutton. I think he would be good here. I just don't think he's the ideal fit, and therefore I probably am not giving away too many assets for him. But that's not taking away from what the kind of player I think he is.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Now, right, and I want to get to, I'll let Gunny answer a question, but from here, Elijah Moore, just very quickly, do you think the guys that we saw, like Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, a lot of fans have kind of given up on these guys because of their recent experience, but where do you stand? But just Elijah Moore in particular, keep him. Is he going to explode? Is he a guy you got to move on from? Where do you stand with Elijah Moore?
He's an enigma, right, guys? He came in his rookie season and looked like he was almost the best rookie wide receiver outside of Chase in that entire class. He was dynamic. He was getting open so often. He had the explosion with Joe Flacco at quarterback against the Miami Dolphins. It's been a bit of a trend, right? These guys having explosions with not Zach Wilson. But he was so dynamic. His route running was so impressive. He had that elusive speed. Suddenly in that rookie season, LaFleur started getting him the ball on these design touches, and it all started making sense. Then last year, week 1 against the Ravens, he was open everywhere. I did a film breakdown on it. He was open almost every single snap. You saw more of that. Obviously, he got disgruntled. He wanted to get traded away. He wasn't getting the football. The question I was actually asking myself this yesterday is, was this the quarterback's fault? Was every quarterback missing him? Or was it Mike LaFleur putting him as the number 3 read in a lot of these plays and concepts? And even though he's getting open, quarterback can't get to your number 3 read in the NFL too often. That's just not a thing, especially with the Jets' offensive line. To answer your question, I still think there's a supremely talented player in there, a guy who is perfect for this scheme. He can play inside, outside. He complements Garrett Wilson and that big body to the Z side of the formation. So I think he can be a player. Am I thinking the Jets should not draft a wide receiver because of Elijah Moore? No, I want more talent, but I'm not sitting here going, I'm writing him off. I still think there's a player there. I still think he gets open, and route running and releases are the most important trait that a wide receiver can have in the NFL, and I think he has it in spades.
I'm right there with him, Gunny. I really am. Again, enigma's a good word, but I feel good about Elijah Moore. I think he's good. I think we're going to see something. But so, Gunny, I know you have some questions, so why don't you bounce it over? I'll bounce it over.
I do.
I'll get to some super chats. Go ahead.
Okay, Luke. So I guess my first question, I'm going to throw you a softball. Now, we've heard a lot of back and forth in regards to Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr on a downward trend because of the last season's performance. Arguably, potentially their worst performances as quarterbacks in their careers.
Yeah.
One, do you think those guys are actually on a downward trend in terms of their ability to play at this level? And 2, if not, which one of those 2 guys do you think would have an uptick in green and white?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I know the fan base has been talking about it a ton. Look, Derek Carr statistically didn't have a great season. He threw a few more interceptions than you'd like. I will stand on that 100%. When I went back and I watched every single game in all 22 from Derek Carr, the 15 that he started, I still saw a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the NFL. People want to bang the drum about the Pittsburgh game. He had a terrible throw late in the game. It cost them the game. That means Derek Carr can't throw in the cold, all those kind of things. He can. 2 interceptions in that game were tip balls that were intercepted. He had another tip ball in the Tennessee game. You're talking there, 25% of his interceptions on the year were off tip balls that should have been caught. So let's just slow our roll on the decline of Derek Carr. I still think he played worse his first season with John Gruden. He was reluctant to push the ball. He's now a guy who is aggressive. I think that's a fantastic trade. Talking about Aaron Rodgers, look, I think anyone is going to decline from the 2 MVP seasons he put together in his age 36 and 37 seasons. What was it, something like 84 touchdowns and 7 interceptions or something ridiculous like that? He had the broken hand against the Giants in London. Obviously, that impacted his game against the Jets. The guy fumbled the ball just against the Jets, just trying to complete a very simple pass. He couldn't grip the ball. An avulsion fracture, for anyone who isn't aware, that's when the bone rips away the tendon. It comes away. It's a horrible injury. He played through that. So to answer your question, long story short, I think these 2 guys had reasons for their downfall and downtick in production, but I still think they can be not just an upgrade for the Jets, because we're the Jets. We haven't had good quarterback play for half the season in 2008. But I think they can be top 10 guys, and Aaron Rodgers even higher than that. Which one you target, I think that's a discussion about assets and a much bigger picture. But I think both are hardly declining. I think either can play at the same level they did 2 years ago, and I would not be shocked at all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. There's, it's just funny how you say it too. Like, look, of course, guys they're going to get older, they're going to decline, and all that sort of stuff. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. But the Derek Carr thing, it's really. I noticed it around his 3rd year, Luke. I didn't like Derek Carr coming out. I'm like, I just didn't like him. Didn't like him his rookie year. And slowly but surely, I started to just see him like a guy. I'm like, wow, he might be the best quarterback in his class. And I think he was late first, maybe early second round pick when there was other guys taken. And 3rd year, I started saying them like, I think we're hating on this guy unfairly. I don't know. And then 4th year, 5th year, it's always the same. He's strong, but his team is just a complete clown show. And people say it's excuses, but the only time he had a top 20 defense, and I don't mean top 20 meaning 11th. I mean 20th, which is the highest he's ever had. They went into the playoffs and the team looked good. He's always kind of carrying it. And you look, 6 head coaches, 5 offensive coordinators, all the drama, terrible offensive line, shitty deep. And he's always been like, if we would have just had this guy, he would quite literally have provided us the best quarterback play we've ever seen. If that section of time was just put on the Jets, he would have given us the best period of quarterbacking we've ever seen. Well, since Namath. I don't want to get all because I'm old, but there are older heads and they get mad at me. They do. You young bastards, stop talking about Namath. That's what they do. They pick on me. But getting over to Hackett, and we just talked about Mims. I'm sorry, Elijah Moore. I mentioned Mims. We didn't dig into him, but Altoona Sandwich. He says Hackett and Downing are going to unlock and unleash Mims and David Stein. So Mims in particular. Do you feel like this guy, I mean, we're going into his 4th season. People are telling me, like, I'm a Mims guy, right? I am. I find a million legitimate excuses for him. I really do. I'm saying, dude, he's had a rough go. He's still got everything. Do you see it? Do you think, I mean, Hackett's known to really prefer bigger receivers and all that sort of stuff where LaFleur did not. Do you think that the arrival of Hackett is a good thing for Mims? And not only like, he's got a shot, but do you see Mims kind of making a, sort of a statement in year 4? It's a contract year and all that jazz. Do you think he's going to turn into maybe a good wide receiver 3?
I really hope so, because I'm like you. I was driving the Denzel Mims train. I think we had pick 48 that year, harder than anyone before we traded down. So I was right there with you. Look, this is something that I want to touch on. And I know a lot of people laughed at me when I talked about this the first year Mike LaFleur was here. I mentioned about how Denzel Mims very early, the coaching staff was very tough on him, and it's like they picked him out. And then Mekhi Becton, there was a big press conference in the preseason, week 2 in Green Bay. Mike LaFleur started having a go at Becton. I didn't like the way he related to his players. I think that was an issue in the locker room and why he eventually was moved on. And I think that was huge to the confidence of Denzel Mims. It leads to the drops. It leads to the lack of production, the penalties that you see on the field. That's a confidence thing. These guys are young athletes. They're 22, 23 years old. If they don't think they've got the backing of their bosses, of their employers, then that's what you're going to see on the field. I still think there's a chance for Denzel Mims. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Denzel Mims is going to go for 900 yards and I feel great about it. But honestly, in my heart, I hope he does. I think he has a shot with Hackett. He does like that bigger boundary receiver to the X side. This is what we said from the start. Make him more of a DK Metcalf where you're giving him one role. You're telling me you can't carve out one role in this offense for Denzel Mims and say, I don't need you to be the X, Y, Z, play the H-back position. Find a role, carve it out in the offense, and let him do that till he's comfortable. The Jets missed a trick with that with their offensive staff. I hope that Hackett can find a spot for Mims because I still have faith in him. I know a lot of Jets fans don't, but we're still there.
You know, dude, Gunny, could you have said anything better? What the hell? Like, and I'll ask both of you this one, man. When they were asking Saleh about Mims, Saleh's rookie year, his first year here, and he said, well, look, he's got to learn all 3 positions. Did that land on you guys like it landed on me? Like, what? Where did that come from? Have you heard that before? Am I drunk? I mean, like, Luke, I'll start with you, and Gunny, I want to hear did it land on you that way? Like, why are we making him do more than everybody else before he can get a shot? What did you think of that statement, Luke?
That was the first thing I tweeted out, exactly echoing what you said. These young guys don't need to learn every position. It's about finding a niche role, accentuating their skill set. You saw what Denzel Mims did well in his rookie year. The back shoulder balls and extended catches to the boundary against the Chargers, against the Chiefs. The talent was there. He was making contested catches. Yeah. He was great vertical down the field. Why are you asking him to do too many things? Look, I understand that versatility is a fantastic trait, but sometimes you have to nurture young players. I'm with you. I thought it was completely strange.
What about you, Gunny? Did it land on you the same way? I mean, everybody was like, what? Or were you like, right?
I remember hearing that, and I immediately thought it was an excuse to not play Mims for some reason. It made no sense. You know, most good coaches are going to cater their offensive scheme to their weapons, right? To maximize their abilities, their benefits. You're telling me in order for this guy who we saw had an abundance amount of talent, you want him to go ahead and learn every single possession, although in his career, he's never had to do that in college or in high school. He's been elite at a position that got him to the league. Now you're saying, hey, you know what? We want you to go ahead and be better at slot. You know what I'm saying? Learn all these position groups before we put you out there. It made zero sense to me, and I won't lie to you. I think it was the first time I really started having some bigger questions about the offensive coordinator and Michael LaFleur. I was like, what in the world is he talking? And it made zero sense to me.
I want to just add one thing that Gunny said there. Think about where Denzel Mims came from. I think this is a great point that he just made. He came from the Baylor offense, which is goes and slants, and it was very simplistic. You're asking him to go from that to a little niche role to then learning every system in a every position, a very complicated West Coast timing-based system. Bill Walsh. There wasn't a lot of sense there. I'm completely with you, Gunny.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, and then you added the food poisoning, right? He lost 20 pounds, so you throw that in there. Then he starts working his way back, and the poor guy gets COVID. You know what I mean? And then it's like a whole thing. He comes back. He's on fire this year. Oh, am I falling out? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Oh, dude, I'm getting nervous. This friggin' my new computer. They redid the hard drive. I was having these problems. It happened last week, didn't it, Gunny? I think.
Yeah, it did. He froze for about a good 2 minutes.
All right. So if it happens again and I disappear, just know I'm coming back. I'll come back. Gunny, you can run it with Luke.
I got you,
yeah,
Gumby.
it was such a weird thing, like making him learn the why. I was like, I mean, look, if that happens as a bonus, because he's just he's just taking everything in like a sponge, fine. But before we can see him at all, I don't know. I thought it was a little bit strange, and I really am excited for Mims. I thought he did some nice things last year. Saleh called it big boy football. He played some big boy football, which is a little condescending if you're between you and me, a little bit condescending, but he still did it, and I'm excited to see what Denzel Mims can do. Because look, he asked for the trade last year And then he had that monster preseason game, like basically saying, like, dude, if you throw me the ball, I'm going to catch the ball. Like, not one play in a game and then I something happens and you bench me. Like, because then it puts too much pressure on every time you go out there. I got to do it right. I got to do it right. Like you said, it doesn't feel supported, doesn't feel nurtured. And then everything becomes more stressful and more up here, right, Luke? You start thinking, and that's the worst thing for a football player. Now, I want to just point out there's a lot of you guys in the chat. We're here with Luke from Play Like a Jet, one of our favorites, man. And I mean that sincerely. If you're not following Luke, why don't you tell him what's your actual Twitter handle? And I'm going to put it in the description. I neglected to do that before the stream, but I'll put it in there for you guys. But where can they follow you, Luke?
Look, I say this every single time. I would probably advise not following, depending on if I'm your cup of tea or not. Look, I think there's a lot of fans, and look, I respect their content and everything, but they want to say things that please other Jets fans, and they don't want to be not controversial for the sake of being controversial, but just sometimes tell the truth, and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that sometimes the New York Jets aren't making good football decisions, or that I didn't like this pick. I'm always going to just call it 100% how it is. I think it's important. A lot of my content's based around film review through the season, a lot of all 22 breakdowns, a lot of stuff on the rookies, on the quarterbacks. I've recently put up some breakdowns of Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers. So the Play Like a Jet YouTube, at LukeGrant7 on Twitter. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but look, just try and create as much content as I can, and help spread the good Jets vibes.
Yeah. Now, look, let me ask you guys in the chat. Do you want yes men? Do you want guy? I only listen and look at people that I agree with 100%. If that's what you're looking for, I don't know. I don't find that refreshing at all. And if that is what you're looking for, Luke's not your guy. That's just that's the way it is. That's one of the things I like most about Luke, man. And I think I agree with you probably 75% of the time. So that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's a high ratio.
Yeah. So, Gunny, I'll ask. I want to break us into the free agent. I know we talked about Cortland Sutton, a little bit about the trade. I want to talk a little bit about free agency, and then I'll throw it to you. But Luke, specifically free agency, we're kind of, it's an amazing phenomenon this year. We're only 11 days away and we're not talking about it at all because this quarterback thing has quite literally sucked the life out of us. Nobody's talking about it. So we are in free agency season. The negotiating window, the legal tampering starts March 13th, which again is 11 days away. Who's on your radar? Who do you think, if we can only sign one? Interestingly enough, last year, if I could only sign one, it was Laken Tomlinson for me. So I was like, oh yeah, when they did that, I'm like, finally. And he's not giving me what I wanted, quite frankly. But he was my one guy. If we could only sign one. Do you have one of those first on your list? Who do you want the Jets to go get and why?
It's a great question. I think for me, there's two positions on the Jets defense that need to be addressed. I think defensive players are easier to come by in free agency than offensive players. It's very rare that a top end or even top half of the league offensive player makes it to free agency because they're just so valued and they're such a rare commodity in the NFL. So I look at safety. The Jets safeties were not good last year. I don't even think Whitehead played particularly well. Jesse Bates is a name that you're going to see linked to the Jets a ton, but he's also going to come with $16 million a year. But he's an extremely fluid free safety. And if you plug him next to the best corner tandem in the NFL, man, that secondary is going to be very, very tough to beat because it felt like last year there were ways to work inside and to get these matchups against Whitehead and against Joyner. And Joyner gave up a ton of big plays at times. So I think a guy like Jesse Bates makes a ton of sense for the organization if they don't go and draft a safety out of Alabama like Brian Branch at 13 or whatever they want to do. So I think he's a name that makes sense to me. And then I look at even a guy like Levante David. Look, I know people, and people are going to hate me for saying this. I know everyone loves Quincy Williams. I don't like Quincy Williams that much as a football player.
Is it the 17 missed tackles? Is that what it is?
It's the pass coverage numbers. My friend David on Twitter does great numbers, and just the missed coverage and missed tackle numbers aren't great. He makes incredible splash plays, but at that position, you're looking for consistency and a limitation of errors rather than the ability to make big plays and big hits that don't ultimately lead in any positive gain as far as interceptions, turnovers, and fumbles. So a guy like Levante David's old, but he's perfect for this scheme. You can see him plugging in. I don't think the Jets will have interest in Bobby Wagner. I think he's a bit too much of the Mike linebacker type, like a CJ Mosley. You're looking for more speed. I hope they bring back Quan Alexander personally, but I would really look at those kind of positions in free agency. You can get those low value positions, but you can get a better caliber of player like a Laken Tomlinson that didn't necessarily work out. But I think that's what you try and do. Attack tight end, attack guard, attack safety, attack linebacker, and get good players rather than premium positions where you're overpaying for moderate production.
Moderate production. I got to say, the safety thing, I mean, we got to fix it. And look, Gunny, I want to get it to you, and I'll wait on my question. But you brought up something I wanted to ask you. I made a video early today. I am not the reason that I made it, and people yelled at me. But I'm going to ask you nonetheless. But so, Gunny, go ahead and ask Luke a question, and then I'm going to bring it back to safeties if you don't mind.
Okay. So earlier I asked you in regards to the upward and or downward trend of both Rodgers and Carr. So with that said, my second question is, you stated that they could both be top 10 quarterbacks, but you feel like Rodgers' ceiling, even at this age, potentially would be higher. So with that said, which quarterback do you want to see the Jets sign, and which one of those quarterbacks makes us a Super Bowl contender or a playoff contender?
Okay. I'm going to preface this by sitting on the fence, but if you said, who do I want to sign? I'd want to sign Aaron Rodgers. What would I do if I was the GM of the Jets? I would sign Derek Carr in free agency right now, if that makes sense to you guys. What I think is, if you wait for Aaron Rodgers, the risk of missing on him and then already missing the window on Derek Carr and ending up with a quarterback room of Jimmy Garoppolo or Mike White, I'm not willing to take that risk. Of course, Aaron Rodgers gives you a higher ceiling, but what attracts me about Derek Carr is the ability to hold on to pick number 13, the ability to pay him slightly less than Rodgers. Yes, Rodgers' cap hit is okay in 2023. I think it's only $16 million for the team that trades for him, but it's looking at over $45 million in 2024. You get longevity with Derek Carr because you've got a guy who's only in his early 30s. You don't have to worry about him retiring. I honestly feel like if the Jets don't make the AFC Championship game, Aaron Rodgers could retire, and you've just given away a first, a third, and a whole lot of money for a guy to retire, and you're in an even worse position. So that's why I would lean Derek Carr. He may not give you the best chance to win a Super Bowl, but I still think that chance is there. I think it elongates the window, and for those reasons, that's the decision that I'd make if I was Joe Douglas.
Okay.
Amazing. Derek,
Awesome.
I'll tell you, I've been on the Derek Carr piece for a while, and I know. And it's like you said, I think I'm very similar to you in that way that you said that. Like if all things are available, if everything's the same, I'm probably going to choose Aaron Rodgers. I'd rather 2 or 3 years of Aaron Rodgers and kind of make that happen. But I'm not even sure he wants to play for 2 years. Like that's the thing. It's like I talked to a couple Green Bay fans, and they told me, I talked to 2 Green Bay fans. One is actually a friend of mine. And both of them said the same thing. We're sick of Aaron Rodgers and his yearly shit. There he goes. All right. There he goes, Gunny. So he's gone. Luke's out. All right. I know. I hope it wasn't something I said there. But you look like something was going on there. So
yeah,
it looked
I
like
saw
some
that.
sort of emergency. Right?
Yeah.
But all right. So anyway, I want to get to this Chode. Now, Chode Uglis, our good friend, he just got his 2-month membership super chat. And thankfully, Jeremy told me about it. I cannot find it for the life of me, and I'm trying to find it here. So, Chode, please forgive me. I'm trying to find it, buddy. Number one, I want to say thank you for your membership. Number two, I want to ask you for your patience. You know I love you. I do, sincerely, and I'm going to find it. Yeah, so I apologize for that one. I don't know where the hell it is. I just, for some reason, I can't find it. I'm scrolling up and down the thing, but I can't find it. Now, there's something else, Gunny. I want to ask you this. There was a few comments in there that said my mic was muted. Was that for any extended period of time or something like that?
I heard you clearly. I'm not sure what's going on that end. On my end, I could hear you the whole time.
Okay. Well, there you go. Maybe it's your computers, but I mean, usually when it's more than one, I think it was 2 or 3 comments that I saw. Usually when it's more than one, something's happening. But again, sorry about that. And hopefully it doesn't happen again. Thankfully, Gunny could hear me.
Yeah.
Where the hell is this thing? Hey, Jeremy, do me a favor. Can you copy and paste the Chode thing in there? Because I want to be able to acknowledge the memberships. I put it up in the chat. Okay, you just did that. Let me get to the bottom and see. Let me see. So, all right. Sorry about this, everybody. And I saw that our friend John put up the old milk thumbs, guys. And if you don't know what the milk thumbs then is, and you're not watching my videos, that's what has become of the like button. We call it the milk thumb. That's what they are. Give me the milk thumbs before you get out of here. It's very, very important to give us your milk thumbs. It's important. It's the like button underneath the video. Now I can't find Jeremy's damn thing. What's going on here tonight? I can't find anything. It's the weirdest thing. Jeremy, where are you? What's your name tonight, Jeremy? Are you 49ers Chaos? Hold on. I'm going to bring Jeremy on a second. He's got to tell me. Jeremy, what's your name tonight?
It's Jeremy Brings the Chaos. That has the blue wrench, so you should be able to find it. It's
what?
It has the blue wrench, so it's highlighted. But I cut and paste it. It's I mean, it's near the bottom. That's all I could say. It's like 8 chats up from the bottom.
8 chats up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, 7:46. I think I just saw it. 10:46 p.m.
Jeremy Brings the Chaos. It says.
Yep.
Jeremy Brings the
member.
Chaos.
Yeah.
What? How many names does Jeremy Bring the Chaos have? Jeremy Brings the Chaos. That's a big question.
I mean, his name is Chaos for a reason, right? He's just throwing it out there, just throwing us all off.
All right. Well, Jeremy, thank you very much. Chode, thank you for your patience. I'll put that up. Our buddy Luke is back. We'll get him up here. Jeremy, thank you, man. And I didn't even tell everybody. Jeremy, man, Jets Chaos in the background, making sure this show runs smoothly. I couldn't be more grateful. This would be something that's sad to say I would have ended up missing. So thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate you more than I let you know.
Always, brother.
All right. We'll see Jeremy in a bit. I got to try to get Luke. Hold on. Let me get this out of here. And there he goes. Okay. Here he comes. He's coming back. Luke, what's up, dude? You okay over there?
The Australian internet, you know what it's like, guys. It's a mess.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, look, no problem. You know, again, I was about to have some problems. You have some issues. It's all understood here. We roll with it. No problem. While you're here, I'm just going to get into this membership super chat. So again, when you join the Stream Beaners, guys, this is what happens. You get free super chats. I got to learn how to friggin' see them. I'll tell you that. They're also worth nothing. But so thank you to Jeremy. We got to make this this benefit worth something here. So Chode, thank you, buddy. I appreciate your membership, your support, and everything. And he says, will Hackett forego production to foster love affairs with non sequitur talent out of spite, like LaFleur? Now that's an underhanded dig at our buddy LaFleur. But now look, Hackett. He got some bad reviews coming out of Denver in the head coach position. Before that, he's got a pretty decent reputation out there among his players. The one we all know about is Aaron Rodgers. You know, Aaron Rodgers is they call Hackett his buddy coordinator. So they're really good friends. But kind of the reports about Hackett are relatively positive until last year in that head coach position. Maybe it just didn't jive with him. But what do you think? Do you see the same sort of kind of personal weirdness going on with, you know, Hackett as we saw with a little bit like with LaFleur? Do you see that, or do you think that's going to be gone out the door with LaFleur?
Not at all. Look, I think that was Mike's biggest issue as an offensive coordinator in the NFL was the ability to sometimes put an arm around someone, to treat players differently. You can't just come in and treat every player the same. Some people need you to ride them hard. Some people need you to tell them it's going to be all right and then that you believe in them. I think he kind of threw that blanket over the dressing room, and that didn't go with some of the players, and that's why he had issues. Nathaniel Hackett, I mean, I think Chris Sims knows the Hackett family extremely well. He was his quarterback coach. His dad was his quarterback coach, I should say. Knows him very well from his time along the league in Green Bay. And he just spoke so highly of him as a person, as a people manager, as a relationship builder. And look, even if you're not thrilled with the X's and O's of Nathaniel Hackett at all times during this tenure, I think the Jets dressing room is going to benefit from him being here. And as you said, he's not being brought to the New York Jets organization to be a head coach. He's been an defensive coordinator. And outside of Aaron Rodgers, he's had some terrible quarterback play in his time. Russell Wilson did not play well. He's had guys like Kyle Orton. He had Blake Bortles. He's hardly had the who's of talent. If you get him a guy who's in the upper echelon, even upper half of the NFL, I think you're going to see production out of him. He schemes guys open. It's a familiar scheme for a lot of the guys that are continuing, like your Garrett Wilsons and your Breece Hall. I think it's going to be a good thing. Look, it's not going to wow anybody, but I think it's a fairly solid signing and hiring considering the position we're in.
Yeah, well, right. Like in blowing people's doors off, you know, I think we have these expectations that, like, we need to be the best or the greatest show on turf. Dude, we get in that friggin' end zone 4 times a game. I don't care how we do it. We can roll in there. If we're getting in the end zone, I'm going to be delighted, man. We 4 yards a snap. If we do that, I'm going to be excited with that too. Remember, you know, 4 yards of a play keeps your offense on the field and gets you in the end zone and the whole thing. If it's boring, I don't care. If we're scoring 28 points a game and running out of there with victories, I'm going to be happy. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, exactly. I just echo everything you just said. You don't need to, I know you shoot for the moon, you land on the stars, but sometimes you just have to shoot for a little above average, and that's about what the Jets need to be a contender.
Right, exactly. You got to, what do you call it? You got to walk before you can run, right, man?
That's
I'm
it,
good with walking in the end. If we walk into the end zone, I'm happy with it. Chris Dolce checking in. Thank you, Chris. He says, sign Bates, free safety, cut Whitehead for Strong. Oh, bad. Okay, so I see what you're saying. Now, good. He reminded me I got to come back to the safety. I'm going to ask another question after this one. But how do you feel about you mentioned him. He's going to be expensive, man. And I don't know if we're re-signing Quinnen and bringing on Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. Maybe not so much, but is he on your list like Jeremy, Jesse Bates? Is he somebody that you think the Jets should try to make it happen? And what do you think about Jordan Battle coming in?
I'm going to start by saying Jeremy Bates is definitely not on my list.
That's right. I know. I'm just glad I caught it.
Yeah. Look, as I said, I already touched on him, but I think he's an extraordinary football player. I think the value he gives you from the free safety position in a pass coverage capacity is far going to outweigh what a strong safety, box safety like a Jamal Adams can give you. I think that automatically increases his value. I think he's very much the Marcus Williams of this year. I very much wanted the Jets to be involved in Marcus Williams last year. It didn't really work out. We didn't really improve that safety position enough. Jesse Bates is this year. You make a very poignant point, though. If they go after a Rodgers or a Carr and they re-sign Quinnen, how far does that budget stretch? Do you want to spend that much on a safety? I'm not sure. But look, if they brought him in, you're getting one of the best safeties in the NFL. And as far as Battle, look, I think he's a very good player. I think a lot of the safeties in this class are actually extremely talented. But again, how many assets do you want the Jets to pour into a non-premium position? That's what Joe Douglas has to weigh up. I think he goes one or the other. I think he improves one of the starting safety spots. I don't think I can see him splurging to improve both in this particular offseason.
Yeah, I don't see it either, man. Hey, Gunny, are you on board with paying Quinnen, or do you think we should trade him? Where do you see that one going?
I'm sorry. If anybody says trade Quinnen, I can't. We can't be friends. I can't have conversations with you. Quinnen Williams needs to get the bag. He should have got the bag already, in my opinion. I think, again, it goes back to not just what it means to go ahead and pay this man because he's just earned it. He's an elite, a top 2, top 3, tops defensive tackle in the league. And he's homegrown. You don't get rid of those guys. If you get rid of that dude, you're sending a message to the Sauce Gardners, to the Garrett Wilsons, like, hey, it don't matter how damn good you are. We're going to trade you and bring somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You're not. I think the message you send by not signing Quinnen Williams could be disastrous to the culture you're trying to build. So for me, Quinnen Williams is a must. It has to happen this offseason. I don't want to see him playing on the fifth year option. Let that man know you appreciate his work, his continued growth, and the impact he had. We saw that man not play one game this season, and our defense couldn't get to a quarterback to save their life. One game, and we were like, well, damn, okay. We can't even breathe on the quarterback without him out there. So his impact of that defensive line is it's proven, it's major. And again, talking about a top 2, top 3 guy max in the league at just 26 years old. Sign that, man. Let's stop playing this game. Sign that, man. And then you send a message also to your young guys. You bust your ass, you work, you're going to get taken care of.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I feel the same. Looks like Luke does as well. Chode, thank you, buddy. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate you saying it's cool because I missed your thing. So you're a good look how nice of a guy this Chode Ugly. What was his name? This is Knobcraft, right? Isn't this Knobcraft?
Yeah,
that's who he is, right? Sometimes I forget, but Chode is good. I like Chode. I like Knobcraft too, but thank you, Chode. I appreciate it. Now, Luke, we saw Joe Douglas at the Combine, right? And he was asked the questions. He's giving us the same Joe Douglas kind of rigmarole. Yes, we're going to do that. But then when it got to Quinnen Williams, something happened. His tone changed, and he gave us something a little bit more than maybe he has in years past when talking about the extension, whether it's Jamal Adams. Yeah, Jamal's going to be a Jet for life. Marcus May, we love Marcus. We're going to get blah, 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 blah. Sam Darnold's our quarterback. This time he said, he brought up his agent's name by name. He said, we've had great conversations with Nicole. His face he smiled a little bit more than we liked. His eyebrows went up. And he sounded, from my perspective, a little bit more positive, almost like this is real. Like he's not just giving us lip service. He might be actually moving toward an appropriate extension at an appropriate time that we can avoid a holdout. Did you pick up the same thing from that, or maybe am I just wishful thinking over here?
No, 100%. I thought the exact same thing. You could just sense the realness to what he was saying, that he wasn't just hiding behind GM, general speak and terms and throwing out that we like this player and we hope he's here and we like everyone in our locker room and all that kind of thing. Look, Quinnen Williams is probably the second best defensive tackle in the NFL. If not, he's the first, depending on, what you think about Chris Jones and how he played this year. He's phenomenal. Look, Quinnen Williams isn't going to play on a fifth year, I don't think. If I was Quinnen Williams, and look, he's my favorite player in the NFL, and you said you're playing on your fifth year option, I'd say, I'm sorry, I'm not playing this year. And I think that's what will happen. Nicole now works for a very big agency over there. She's one of the most powerful agents in the NFL. She's done an incredible job building herself in that organization over at Clutch. And they're not going to have Quinnen Williams play on a fifth-year deal. So if the Jets want to see Quinnen Williams play in 2023, they're going to need to extend him. They're going to need to pay him in the realm of $21 million a year. And I would do it because I don't want to hear that defensive tackle isn't a premium position. It is a pass rusher. Quinnen Williams is a pass rusher.
Yes.
And if you rush the passer at a high level, you are the most important player on the field. Bill Belichick said it so many times. I'd rather a guy screaming around the edge where I can step up in the pocket than have interior push and interior penetration. Quinnen Williams is the best in the game at it. They got to sign him ASAP.
Yeah. Well, I think, look, we all agree. There is a section of our fan base that believes you should trade Quinnen Williams. And why?
That's insane.
Isn't it though, Gunny?
That's insane. I don't understand it.
Now, it's weird because I was on board with trading Jamal Adams, and not only because of the whole just, scorched earth thing that he did before he left.
He's box safety.
But dude, right, Jamal Adams, it was really interesting because I liked him, right? I did. Of course you like him. He plays hard. He's aggressive, all those things.
Yeah.
But the truth is that Jamal never did anything. He never really impacted too many games. There's a couple, and like the year when he had 6.5 sacks, he got 5 of them. 5 in 2 games.
Yeah.
Against the
people forget that
Redskins and Giants. So the rest of the year we got 1.5. He's kind of like an illusion where Quinnen Williams, and we've talked about this just ad nauseum. Quinnen Williams has an uncanny ability to get his stats during the times you need someone to step up. So 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, fourth quarter. He tends to come up big in those moments. And where Jamal Adams is kind of what I call maybe a stat padder, Quinnen Williams is the exact opposite. So even though he might not lead the league in sacks or whatever, tackles or whatever from the interior, quarterback hits and all that, he's got great numbers. He might not be number 1, but when he's doing it, it's the biggest moments of the game. And that's the kind of guy that you got to keep. Not every player has that, man. That's
a game wrecker.
He's a game wrecker.
He's a freaking game wrecker.
And what'd you think of this, Luke? You mentioned Chris Jones. They were tied for sacks, I believe, from the inside. And Chris Jones did it in 142 more snaps than Quinnen Williams. What do you make of that?
Look, I said this in the draft class in 2019, I think he came out. Quinnen Williams, for me, was the best player in that draft. I know Nick Bosa's been phenomenal, and he's going to be an all-pro for his whole career. Quinnen Williams was a once-in-a-lifetime prospect. If you take out Aaron Donald, I think he's the best defensive line prospect in the last 20 years. I honestly believe that. He is so explosive at crossing the center's face with that swim. His technical nous that he picks up from Nick Saban with his 1.6 something 10-yard split and explosion is the best combination that you can have as a pass rusher. He is just so dynamic. But to be honest, you sidetracked me. You know why? You started mentioning that 3-game run where the Jets played the Raiders, the Washington football team, and the Giants, and I was just crying because we got stuck with Adam Gase for another year because of you went on that 3-game stretch, and I've just lost everything else I was going to say because I'm upset at you for reminding me. And just thinking, we're out here scoring 30 a game with Darnold and Gase, and you just knew it was just going to end in absolute turmoil and heartbreak, and it did.
Yeah. Well, and we knew
PTSD, Luke, a little PTSD.
Yeah, right, Gunny, right. So, Gunny, why don't I bounce it to you? I got a couple. I want to dig some out of it. There was a couple questions in the chat. I want to try to dig them out. But why don't you go ahead? And then Tyson's going to be here in a minute. Now, Luke, do I have you for a few more minutes? Do you want to bounce out of here? It is 9:00. I know that we had you till 9. You got to bounce. You want to hang out a few minutes?
I'll stay as long as I can. Look, I'm juggling with work commitments at the moment, but I'll stay as long as I can.
All right, how about this? 5 more minutes, and then we'll let you go. I don't want to guilt you and make you feel bad. So 5 more minutes. We'll ask you like 2 more questions, and then you can get out of here and go to work. How's that sound?
Cool. Sounds good, guys.
All right, Gunny, you're up.
Okay, Luke. So now we all know the prize right now is either Aaron Rodgers or it's Derek Carr. Like that for us would be home run hits in terms of acquiring a quarterback this offseason. Now, in the very, very limited possibility that for some reason Joe drops the bag and we don't get either one of those guys, who is plan C or plan B, I guess? Because I guess you got, 1A and 1B and Rodgers and Carr. So who would be plan B for the Jets to bring in so you feel like there's some kind of salvageability at the quarterback position in this offseason?
Well, I'm going to eliminate names. Let's say Ryan Tannehill sounds like he's staying in Tennessee, so I'm going to go ahead and say he's not an option. Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield and Gardner Minshew are not options. Realistically, it leaves you with Jimmy Garoppolo. And for a lot of reasons, the reason why that doesn't excite me is because of the health. Look, I think there is a limitation to Jimmy G's game where when he's playing with the best offensive coordinator and offensive mind in the last 15 years, maybe outside of Andy Reid, in Kyle Shanahan, he's able to scheme open these windows that are enormous and these very easy, simple decisions. You saw it last year with Purdy. Yep. But he doesn't make those tight window throws consistently and he doesn't stay healthy. So, look, he's probably the best option for Joe Douglas. But for me, and this will never happen because the Jets need to win now, or else I believe if the Jets don't win 8 or 9 games, that Woody Johnson will get antsy and he'll probably let go of Sulla and Douglas. That's just what I think will happen. And I know people don't agree. I think that will probably happen. For me, I draft a quarterback at that point. I do everything I can. But Joe Douglas can't do that because he doesn't have the time. He believes he's built this roster for right now. Yeah. So I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place where he has to go for Jimmy G. I don't think that's a particularly great option for the Jets because you're still going to have to pay him a fair bit of money. But realistically, he's the best thing out there because you're not going to get Lamar Jackson. They're not trading him within the AFC. It's just not going to happen, in my opinion. You're not going to have a chance of getting Dak Prescott. So it's Jimmy G. And fans will have to live with it. There's some scheme familiarity, but I don't love it.
Okay, so I'm sorry, GreenBean. He said Jimmy G. What about Jacoby Brissett? How do you feel about that potential option?
I don't think Joe Douglas thinks my last 3 years of drafting and my job's going to ride on Jacoby Brissett. I think he's an option. I think he's very similar to a Tyrod Taylor without trying to profile types of quarterbacks. I think he's that guy who can be a 20th best quarterback in the league. I'm not sure what his upside is. He obviously has some scheme familiarity. He's also played in offenses like in New England. Mm-hmm. He's an extremely smart guy. We saw what he did to the Jets defense in Cleveland in week 2 last year. Yep. I think he's a very solid player. I think he's a starting caliber quarterback. I just don't think Joe Douglas is going to believe in his head for him that he's going to leave it up to a Jacoby Brissett or even to a lesser extent a Mike White. I think he thinks this is my last chance to pick a quarterback, and I think he's going to have to make a bigger splash than that. Look, I think Jacoby Brissett is a good football player, and he showed that a lot of times in the NFL at multiple stops, but I just don't think he'll be an option for the Jets.
That's fair. Thank you.
And I want Luke to know I disagree with him. I want to make a point because I've agreed with everything else. So I do disagree. I think that maybe Salah, like if they have a bad season or whatever, I think Salah's head could be on the chopping block. I don't think Woody wants to go back into that world of having to find another GM. Obviously, Joe Douglas knows what he's doing. If it didn't work yet, okay, but he clearly knows what he's doing. Remember, Woody Johnson had to use Korn Ferry to find Idzik. He had to use Casserly and Ron Wolf to hire McCagden. Both were just atrocious hires. He knows how hard it is. I think Joe Douglas, other than, taking a crap on Woody's desk, I think he's pretty safe. That's what I think. Now, I want to point out, Jeremy is putting up again. Jason Edwards, thank you so much. His 2 months as a Stream Beaner anniversary is today as well. So thank you, Jason, one of our staunchest supporters. And I just appreciate you so much. I think you know that, but I'll say it again right here. I appreciate you. And here's your new member super chat that comes with the Stream Beaner membership. If you get a run stuffing defensive tackle next to Quinnen, he can be a 15 to 18 sack guy next year. Now he's talking about Quinnen being an 18. Do you agree? Like, do you think that, kind of putting Nathan Shepard or Rankins or Thomas, like they're nice, so they can do they have their positives. But if you were to go in the draft and maybe get one of these beasts, Siaki Ika, just somebody of that ilk, Keandre Coburn. Do you think that could catapult Quinnen into being a 15-plus sack guy from the interior?
I think this is a two-part question for me. I think getting a guy like, I'll use an NFL name, a Dalvin Tomlinson. Getting a guy like that is huge for the Jets defense because they're very porous against the run. If you want Quinnen Williams to take that extra step and be the elite of the elite, the 17, 18 sack guy, I think it's getting more production out of the edge spot because it's much more difficult to double team an interior offensive lineman. Look, Carl Lawson had the second Achilles injury. He had the second surgery. That is so tough to come back from. We've seen it with athletes like Kevin Durant. Like I said, talking about Sutton earlier, it's that second year you'll see his improvement, maybe. I'm a little worried about the Jets defensive line. I think a lot of people are like, we're good. We've got, Clemens, and we've got JJ, and we've got Bryce Huff, and we've got Lawson. I just think you're asking a lot of those guys to make a big step up. Like for Bryce Huff to become an every down player, that's a big step. To get Michael Clemens to be a 60% snap guy, that's a big step. I think we're asking a lot. I thought they can do it. But I think if you get an edge presence from either the draft or one of those guys steps up, that's how you get the most out of Quinnen Williams. Because if you're double teaming a guy on the edge and Quinnen gets a one-on-one,
it's a wrap. Oh my God, it's a wrap.
All right. So number one, great answer. I agree with you. I want to just, before you go, Luke, I know you got to go. I'm going to bring on our second guest. It turns out he's been sitting in the green room. It pushed him down below everything to where the controls are. I couldn't even see him. He's been sitting here. So let's say hello to Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio. Dude, I'm so sorry, man. Thanks for coming on.
I want to be a stream beaner, man. What's going on?
Well, thanks for coming on, Tyson. We're having a great conversation with Luke from Play Like a Jet. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity, but I wanted just to, while he was here, bring you on to say hello.
He was dropping some knowledge, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, Luke's the real deal, man. I love.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
Look, a lot of people will say that Australians can't know anything about football, but, each day will just show them they're a little bit more wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I always tell you, the fact that you know so much makes me, I get nervous. I'm like, I can't allow this. I have to know at least as much as you do. Right?
You guys have got it covered. Don't be silly.
All right. Well, listen, thanks again, Luke, for coming on. I appreciate it. I love having you on. This is, I think, our third or fourth time. So I always love having you here. You can go back to work. But again, just let everybody know whether or not they want to follow you or not. Where can they follow Luke on Twitter?
Yeah, so at Luke Grant 7 on Twitter. Play Like a Jet on YouTube, all the film study stuff. Guys, keep supporting the Jets. Keep supporting GreenBean. Incredible content. I love it, guys, the community. Appreciate you having me on, Legend.
All right, man. Well, look, have a great night, and thanks again. There he goes, everybody. Luke
Have
from
a good one,
Play
Luke.
Like a Jet. And, dude, Tyson, I'm over here like I'm worried. I'm like, oh, no, he's not getting my emails. And you're like, dude, he says, I'm here, dude. I've been in the studio for the last 10 minutes. So I'm sorry, man. I really am. I apologize.
I'm reading the chat. I'm hanging out, drinking some water. I'm just like, it's like watching TV, man.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you for coming on. You're another one, man. I just love talking Jets with you. And I'm always grateful when you carve out some time. I'm not sure, excuse me, if you had the opportunity to meet my new co-host, Gunny Gumby from New York Jets Situation Report, but that's my boy right there. Gunny, this is Tyson. If you guys
I know Tyson.
Yeah,
I know Tyson. Oh, I've watched his content quite a bit. I don't think there's a more raw YouTube content creator on YouTube than Tyson. I'm talking about, you see everything. I love it. Unedited, nothing but raw. I love it, man. I love watching your stuff, Tyson.
Well, nice to meet you, man. Yeah, we don't edit, we don't censor, we don't do anything, man. We're pretty raw's a good word.
Yeah, well, hey, man, that was what attracted me to you, too. I know what I think it is about you. Gunny brings up a great point, man, that, like, look, even somebody like myself, there's like sometimes where we might not be as, capture that true, like, essence of the fan in the stands.
Yep.
You do that. And I got to say, Primetime does too. Like, you guys capture that, whether it's disappointment, whether it's being happy about something, it is unfiltered. It's very, very real, very, very pure, man. I always appreciated that about you. I've been listening to you for quite literally years before YouTube.
No, I appreciate it. But, I like that about you too, GreenBean. Like, I know it's like when you're a fan a long time and you deal with more disappointment than happiness, when you see red flags, you see things that you know are going the wrong way, you have no problem identifying quickly, and you could back it up with facts. Like, I've seen this before. Like, I know the wrong path because I've seen it 10 times already. So you do the same thing, man. That's why like we don't have a narrative. We don't give a shit about subscribe. We curse on the show or no?
A little bit, yeah. You can do whatever you want.
No, but we don't care.
As we look, Tyson, as we said, we love you. You're unfiltered. Hey, stop that. Don't act like that.
No, but we don't care about like the narrative or trying to appease the Jets to get press passes or anything like that. We're just gonna call like we see it, man. Like it's just we're just fans, man. Like and like a lot of you guys are a lot more like you give a lot more professional insight, the X's and O's, the stats. Like you do a lot more research than we do. That's why I respect all you guys, man. Like even with the combine, the draft, like you know a lot more than we do. Like, and which is great. It just makes it really interesting.
Yeah, well, I think that's why there's space for us. That's why it's like, we get different things from each one of us, which is just so cool. But let's be real here. I mean, you're the OG. That's the truth. You were doing podcasts for Jetnation before podcast was a word.
Yeah.
That's how long ago you were doing that, man. So I've been listening to you. I guess it's 2010, 2012, something like that. Has it been that long?
We were doing Phil was so nice to me, man, with Jetnation. Like he's like, we're gonna do a call-in show, but we're gonna do it from a computer. I'm like, do what? Like you're gonna have an online virtual studio. I'm like, what in the hell is that? Like, how do I do this? Like me and technology are not friends by no means. And then we're calling in from our cell phone, people are calling us, and like it was just it's wild. And see where all these shows have come now, like how professional you guys are, and all like the videos, all the technology. It's crazy, man. It's a wild world out there.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, man. But again, that's the thing with Tyson, man. Like, right, it wasn't even like they were doing this before it was cool to do it. It was just like, we're taking phone calls on a computer. What the hell is that? It turns out it's a podcast. Who knew?
It was wild, man.
But Tyson, look, people love you. They were excited. I got a couple DMs this week. Excited that you were going to be on with us. E-Boogie here is checking in, throwing out a little super chat action just to show you some love. So everybody's happy that you're here. I think the first question, and look, we've been talking about it. We just talked about it earlier with Luke, but I do want to get your official take here with the quarterback. Again, we're tired, right? We're tired. But where do you stand? If you had your way, and the reasons why, which quarterback do you want to see the Jets come away with this offseason?
It's funny, GreenBean. Every year we talk, and every year we have the same question. Like, are we going to finally have our quarterback? Like, we thought it last year was like, no, this is a big step year for Zach. We're going to do this. We're going to every year, man, you talk, dude. It's like Sam was the guy, Zach's the guy. Now it's like, who's our new flavor of the day, right?
Yeah.
And, man, I am so frustrated with this situation. I am beyond frustrated because, this quarterback situation is kind of dividing the fan base somehow. Like right now, Aaron Rodgers created football. He actually created the game of football, Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I heard.
And Derek Carr is actually worse than Zach Wilson. It's amazing how that's happened over the last 3 weeks, right? That's exactly what's happened. It's amazing. I never knew Derek Carr was this bad and Aaron Rodgers was this good. So, man, like I respect the people that want Aaron Rodgers. I completely understand it, but I have two concerns. One is what's the actual compensation, which seems to be changing on a daily basis, and what's his actual commitment to the team. I want at least 2 years, dude. I'm not going to do a 1 year hit with him. It's one hit, 1 year, I'm out. No, thank you. I don't want to do that. And that's kind of, if the compensation is less than the first round, it makes it a lot easier. Will he come here in a restructure? Like everybody thinks it's a slam dunk. Well, if Aaron Rodgers wants to come to the Jets, it's a slam dunk, Super Bowl, no problem. No, there's a lot of things that go with it, man.
Oh, yeah.
His commitment, his contract, the compensation, all these different things. Meanwhile, you have Derek Carr out there that I probably like more than most people do. No compensation. He'll be here 4 or 5 years. And I think he's a very good quarterback. Now, everybody says, well, he can't beat Mahomes. He can't beat Josh Allen. We don't really know. He still could get better. His career's not over. He's not on the downside of his career.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to me, if Aaron Rodgers is the obvious one for everybody, Derek Carr is a very strong 1A. And if this Aaron Rodgers saga keeps playing out, I get this weird feeling he's going to stay in Green Bay, dude. I think he's going to, because he came out of darkness. He had this epiphany of his life. And he's going to probably say, you know what, my best chance to win is actually in the NFC in Green Bay. Yeah. That's what he may actually think, But
it's very realistic, right?
Right.
Well, and they're saying the similar things about like why Carr might choose the Panthers or the Saints.
Yep.
Same exact reason. It's
100%.
like, dude, the path of least resistance is the NFC right now. The AFC is jam packed with, not only quarterbacks, but just really solid rosters all up and down across the country. The AFC is no joke. And the NFC is kind of struggling this year. I mean, teams with 8 wins are winning the division and all that sort of stuff. So I think the Aaron Rodgers just staying where I am. I mean, think of what it would take for him to change. He's been up there since 2005. He's been starting since I think 2008. So, dude, he's been there. I mean, we have Jets fans in the chat right now that were not watching the Jets when Aaron Rodgers went to Green Bay. They weren't even here yet. That's how long it's been. Yeah. And the idea of him kind of uprooting from Green Bay, where he's the king of the castle, man. The press, if he's mad, they step off. It's, dude, he's going to come here to a feeding frenzy. Yep. And he just quite honestly might not want to do that. And you're so right, Tyson. If he drags this out any longer, and we really do lose the opportunity to get Derek Carr, assuming that it's real, right? That he would really come. He didn't tell the Jets, hey, look, you sound nice, but I'm not coming. If we lose Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, it kind of puts us in a precarious position. Like all this talk about, a slam dunk, like you said, it's kind of out the window. Do you feel the same way?
100%. And at some point, Derek Carr is going to push the Jets' hand a little bit too, saying, listen, I met with you guys twice. I met with the Panthers. I met with the Saints. Okay, make me your best offer because I'm making my decision. Just say Monday. Right. All right, Jets, you say you love me. I'm a future Hall of Famer. Great meetings. They've been praising him endlessly. And the one thing, if you listen to Joe Douglas's press conference, and this is maybe me just being biased or overtired, that Joe Douglas spoke. He gave Derek Carr a review that Derek Carr could cut that tape and play it to every other team because Joe Douglas's review of him was incredible. Right. It was almost like when you go into the draft and you we want this type of player. It was everything they identify with Derek Carr, the praise he gave him. So now at some point you say, you know what? I want your best offer because I'm making my decisions on Monday. Then what do the Jets do? They're going to sit here and wait for Aaron Rodgers to figure it out? Because Derek Carr at some point is going to have some kind of pride. But listen, man. I want to be your plan A. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, wait, I'll be your second option and sit here and wait. You know what I mean? You're going to have some kind of pride and some kind of,
Yeah.
Listen, if you want me so bad, show me. I'm not going to sit here 3 weeks till you figure it out.
That's right. And Gunny, we were talking about this a little bit last week. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think the Jets kind of might have said that to him? Like, hey, look, we like you, but shooting straight. We really do want to see what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. And then in the next 2 weeks, we're going to make our decision. Do you think that they shot that straight with him or they kind of, pretending that he's number one on their list? Where did you stand, Gunny? I forget.
I have a hard time believing that Joe Douglas, with the high IQ that he has and that he's proven to us, would go out there and blatantly tell him hey, man, you're great. But in all actuality, we're really feeling Aaron Rodgers right now. So we're going to wait for him to make a decision before we come back to you. I'm going to go with they kind of put him on the pedestal. They telling him he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer being a Jet. I do believe that they're showing respect to the fact that he probably wants to go ahead and take his time making this decision, which is a benefit to the Jets to kind of go ahead and see, okay, what is A-Rod going to do? So I think that's what they played that to their advantage because I don't believe Derek Carr was going to make a decision on the first visit. I think they knew that as well. I think they're taking that opportunity to their advantage. But Derek Carr at the same time, I'm with Tyson on this one. If he wants to be a Jet, I guarantee you he can just say right now, I'm making a decision on Monday, prove it that I can be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You really want me. And I bet you he'll be a Jet by the weekend. I can guarantee it. I think the Jets are playing the game with the I guess you can say the rules that Carr has put out there with he wants to go ahead and talk to some other teams. And they're thinking, okay, you do your thing, while they're sitting there like, damn, Aaron, what are you going to do? Are you going to play or are you not? We need to figure this thing out.
Right. Frank Reich took him out, to a strip club. He's like, I like this Frank Reich fella. Everybody, you guys better put your money where your mouth is, man. Joe, I want to thank you for the super chat, reminding everybody, let's get those milk thumbs going. We have over 235 in here. I think we got about 120 likes. If you haven't hit that like button, please do. It's you'd be surprised how important it is on YouTube for the algorithm, man. It means the world, and we appreciate it. And thank you, Joe. Now, look, I keep forgetting to tell you guys, tonight we're starting a new thing. Now, I'm an hour and 20 minutes into the friggin' show before I tell you, but at the end of every show, we're going to be giving away a Green Bean t-shirt to all the people that send in a super chat. Jeremy's keeping tabs on everybody that decides to send a super chat all the way from the beginning till the end. If you've sent in a super chat, you are automatically entered into the contest, and then one of you guys will win a Green Bean t-shirt of your choice from the Green Bean merch store. So we're going to be doing that a little late in the game, but maybe less super chats tonight so you guys have greater chances. But again, we just so appreciate it, man. And I wanted to just give something back to you guys. So to all the guys who do that, one of you is going to get a t-shirt, and we'll do that every single week. Maybe even some weeks I make it a hoodie. How's that sound? I'm really proud of my hoodie, Tyson. I love my Green Bean hoodie, dude. I'm proud of that one. I got
marketing, man. Marketing promotion is always a good idea.
Yeah. So, all right. So Leo Vernacchio is checking in. Thank you, Leo. He says, do you guys think that Rodgers and waiting for Carr to sign with the Jets, so Green Bay will be forced to take him back? Feel like Rodgers has the answer, but I mean, what is the holdup? Go Jets. So Tyson, do you think that I'm kind of like, let me see if I get a grasp on this.
I don't think Rodgers cares. I think Rodgers is saying that Carr signs with the Jets first, then he has to stay in Green Bay. I don't think Rodgers cares at all what the Jets are doing or Carr. He's playing his own game right now.
Yeah.
But the one thing, and just to go back to your point you made before, is just like, once you meet with a team twice, like Carr did, I mean, there's nothing after that. You met with the owner, you met with the general manager, you met with the coach. There's nothing else left to do.
Nope.
You had your dinner, you had your decision time, right? And like he met with the Panthers, like it's all done now. This is full circle. So you've got to figure out what you want to do here. And it's going to be fascinating, man, because the Jets keep blowing all the smoke out there, and Aaron Rodgers, nothing's getting done in Green Bay. So it's going to be put up or shut up time. And it's going to be sooner rather than later, I think.
Well, let me say this too. Like you just mentioned that he met with Carolina and a few other teams, but the only teams he's actually visited that had like a real visit was the Saints and the Jets. And our buddy Gitmo Bob, he's brought this up a couple of times over the past few days in our streams, and I think it's a valid question. Like, if he is, if he is so popular out there, why aren't teams bringing them into their facility to have that visit a la the Jets? We wined and dined him. He was here Friday night till Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
Why aren't more teams doing that? Do you think the interest is kind of like, we don't know, we don't like him? Or do you think it's just, I don't know, it's just not happening that way for some reason? What do you think of that, Tyson?
That's a good question. It could be the two teams that he has ties to. I mean, he has ties with the Saints with the head coach. He has ties with the Jets with Downing. Maybe he just, that could be it. I mean, I always thought the Panthers was the spot for him. That's where I thought he was going to go, to be honest with you. I like Frank Reich a lot, probably more than most people do. It's a good question though, man. You always said there's this big market, but then it's like you don't hear about the market. You've heard about three teams, But then the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, you heard about, he wants the Raiders, he wants the Titans. And then as of today, the Raiders are out. The Titans aren't interested. It's just the Jets, right? That Panther story was, I guess that was nullified. That was like a false story. So,
yeah,
I mean,
fake news.
What exactly is Aaron Rodgers' market if he's not going to go to NFC team and it's only really the Jets that really want him? I mean, are you bargaining against yourself? Like, what are you?
Right. We're doing that again. We're but like the Le'Veon Bell. We're out there aggressively arguing with ourselves.
CJ Mosley. Yeah.
You're right. CJ Mosley. And I know I'd hate to it's like we're the only team interested in these guys, Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr, and we're kind of negotiating against ourselves.
Yep.
I think that the Carr thing, apples to apples here. I think, Rodgers is a better quarterback. I don't think we have to really debate that, right? Numerous time, MVP, Super Bowl champion, but Carr's no slouch, and I think that, like you said, you like Carr maybe more than some others. I think I'm right in that pocket with you. Gunny, I know leans Rodgers, but I know he doesn't hate Carr either, No. So we're kind of Carr supporters here. And I think when you look at it, when you add the fact that he doesn't want $50 million a year. He's not pulling the Lamar Jackson. He doesn't require any draft picks. Those things can really kind of outweigh when you look at him. Yes, Rodgers is better, but he's older. He's going to be here a shorter amount of time. You got to give up a draft pick. He's going to cost $45 million. Then you have the $60 million of dead cap after he's gone. There's are a lot of things. You said, like, will he restructure? Do you think all that, like, if you were looking at it, would those things kind of, if you could pick either one, both of them come up and say, we want in, we want to be Jets, and you look at it, do you think those extra things would push you over to Carr if you could get Rodgers?
I mean, I think so, dude. And I'll tell you why. I have a hard time thinking Aaron Rodgers, if he does come here, plays more than 1 year. I don't think it's going to happen. You can say I'm wrong. I just don't think he is. And the other thing about Derek Carr is I think he's a tremendous leader. And he's fully vested into the team, man. It's going to be about team first. Great guy in the locker room. He's respected everywhere. I think players all across the NFL probably respect him a lot more than the fans do at this point, which is wild. But, like, he's fully vested, dude. Like, you sign him today, he's probably going to be in the playbook tomorrow, all about this team first, and you can grow along with this young group. Aaron Rodgers will not be here day one. He's going to get acclimated late. Yes, he has familiarity with Hackett, which is great. But I think it's just a different player, man. It's like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of rubs.
There's a culture, dude. Like you have a young culture here, and there's part of things that I'm not sure if you heard what Joe Klecko said too about, like, the locker room and what Aaron Rodgers could do. I kind of agree with Joe Klecko as well, man. Some of the things he's saying, like the fit in the locker room, the personalities. It's just like you have all these young, impressionable players, man. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, so they're all young and on the rise. Derek Carr can grow along with them, man. They can mold it together as your core nucleus for the next 4 years, right? Aaron Rodgers may not give you that, dude. And then before everybody hates on me, I respect Aaron Rodgers, incredible player. And it's not a slam dunk if he comes here 1 year, we're guaranteed a Super Bowl either. No, because having this elite quarterback that everybody wants is not what are the Bills doing? They didn't go to Super Bowl yet with Josh Allen, did they? Right? What's Justin Herbert doing? Everybody, Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, great coach, great quarterback. What are they doing right now?
Right.
There's no guarantees. And the missing piece that nobody really talks about of all this, and I know we need a quarterback, is, okay, you get this quarterback here. Can they be coached up? Because do you have faith in Saleh? Do you have faith in Hackett? Do you have faith in Downing? Like, all these coaches here, man, once Saleh gets this missing piece that he needs, is he going to be a very good, high-caliber coach?
Right.
What is he going to be?
Are we any good? Right.
Right? Like, at some point, he's got to earn his stripes, because if we're being completely honest, this team had an epic collapse at the end of the year. This went from a team that we wanted to win the division that completely melted on and off the field. So now Saleh's getting a pass, blame it on the quarterback, blame it on everything but him. Okay, you get the quarterback. No excuses. Can he make this team win this year and make that legitimate run into the playoffs? Not win one playoff game, win more than one playoff game.
Yeah, right. It's a great point. I mean, look, we feel pretty good about what they did defensively. Let's not forget recent history. It's 2 weeks ago, I think, Gunny and I were talking about this. We wanted to fire, what the hell is his name? Our defensive, what the hell's his name? Why can't I think? Ulbricht.
Yeah.
Don't forget. And then when we came out against the Ravens, we were all there and we looked kind of the same. And then, we were talking about Ulbricht being completely inept. And they turned it around, right? And we feel pretty good about the defense. The defense, I mean, all through the season, they looked the part, right?
Right.
But you're so right. I mean, we're bringing in an entirely new offensive staff. And like you said, Saleh, for whatever, look, as motivational as he is, he couldn't stop that damn collapse. He couldn't. He was trying. He was trying to just, let's squeeze out one more win and we're in the playoffs. And he couldn't do it.
Home games, GreenBean, they're losing home games. They didn't show up against the Jaguars. They play like that. Like, to me, like, there's certain things that are just inexcusable to me. And that loss was that drove me just out of I couldn't take it. But you give them the pass, but you can't ignore it though, right? Like, I don't think it's fair to ignore that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree, man. And look, I feel good. I do, but it's definitely part of the mix here. We don't know. We don't know what we have yet. I do think what we do have is the trajectory has been up so far. Maybe again, the late season collapse was terrible, but still, even including that, it's still, the line, it's still heading upward. So at least we have that. I want to just mention a couple things. We have a couple guys here. Dylan Terraman is in the chat. I don't know if you know Dylan Tyson. He's the new host of Jetnation Radio alongside Glenn. So Dylan's in here chatting it up. DKB, our good buddy, is in here. You do a show with him, right, Gunny?
Yeah. Me and DK and Italy Jet, we do the Fly Squad podcast once a week. Right now we're doing them on Mondays, midday. It's like an early podcast on Monday. So yeah, me, DK and Italy Jet, we do
we got the Italy Jet,
the Jets Flight Squad.
Yeah, so those guys are in the chat. In addition to, of course, we have Jeremy and Wat2K in the back. Jeremy from Jets Chaos and Wat2K from New York Sports Worker Media. But we have another one here. Talking Jets with Tigo is in the house. One of our more analytical friends, very, very detail oriented. We love him for that. He says, what piece of shit do you think? What position? It's funny because that's how I read it. I'm like, who's he mad at?
I did too. I ain't gonna lie. That's what I did too when I first saw it. And then I had to, position. He's asking for position.
Right. So, look, getting off of the quarterback thing, if we can for a second, what position do you think we won't be able to address this year, right? We talk about all the things we can do, but we are limited. We have no money. We don't have 2 firsts and 2 seconds and 3 fourths. This is the first year that we're kind of on this side of things. What positions do you think we won't be able to address with the free agent period and the draft this season?
Well, I mean, I guess I'll go first if you guys want. I think we talk about this vaunted defense, which is so great. And there's a lot of free agents there, man. You have Rankins, but to me, I go right to the linebacker position. Mosley, very good player, a year older. But you have Quan, free agent, Quincy Williams, a free agent. Depending on what you think about Sherwood, the linebacker group needs an overhaul, man. I mean, if you want to bring Quincy Williams to get big money, at least he wants that. What do you do with Quan? If you lose both of them, now you need 2 new linebackers? That I have some legitimate concerns there. And then just going right up the middle, then you look at the safety position where obviously Joyner is going to be gone. And you can make a guess about Whitehead, who I've been disappointed with. I thought he'd be a better player than he was. So you're looking at, you need linebackers. You may need two safeties as well, right? So that's like, if you look at the defensive side of the ball, you have this defense you like. You're replacing linebackers, replacing safeties. If you lose Rankins, that's a big blow. And then what do you do with Carl Lawson, right? It's all of a sudden, that's a lot of names. You're like, wait a minute, what just happened to this defense that we like so much?
Yeah, right. And Jets fans are like, of course we're getting rid of Carl Lawson. Of course it's like LaMarcus Joyner. We're going to cut Whitehead. We're going to cut Carl Lawson. Like you said, Rankins needs to be re-signed. Oh, Nathan Shepard, get him out of here. Solomon. And then it's like, right, we have all these holes. We're going to lose one of Quan and Quincy Williams, I would think, right? I mean, I would think. They both had pretty good years, even though Quincy Williams was tied with Whitehead for the most missed tackles on the team. With 17, and Luke talked about it earlier. He does struggle in coverage.
Yep.
And he has this weird, tendency to be like lights out one game, a fucking heat-seeking missile, and the next game he's like non-existent. He's just gone. So he does that, but even with that, like, you're gonna have to replace him. I happen to like Jamie and Sherwood, but it's really a great point. Number one, we got to figure out how to keep some of these freaking guys. You got to restructure CJ Mosey. You got to figure some of that out, but we might not be able to fill some of these holes. What do you think, Gunny? Which position do you think the Jets won't be able to fill?
For me, I think it's going to be that in that linebacker group. I think we're going to go ahead and find ourselves either trying to go ahead and make one of our practice guys fill a role. I agree. Quincy or Quan, one of those guys is leaving. And I'm hoping if we get Quentin Williams signed up, we're going to get a discount for Quincy or vice versa. Quinn's going to take a little bit less and make sure his brother plays there. I'm hoping that familiar bond allows us to get a discounted rate to keep those two together. But now we're going to take a hit, I think, specifically in the linebacker group. I do believe in safety. They're either going to look in the draft to go ahead and bring somebody on, or maybe even a veteran in free agency. The defensive line, I have a hard time looking or understanding Joe Douglas's mindset and Coach Saleh's mindset and not seeing the defensive line and offensive line getting love. I just have a hard time seeing them go through an offseason saying, you know what, we're good. We're going to run it back as is. Yeah. So I see those positions getting a lot of capital thrown their way in free agency and, of course, in the draft. So I think the hole for us is probably going to be at linebacker. I think we're going to go ahead and take a hit in the middle of our defense this season.
Yeah, and then we got to hope that the Sherwoods, who I happen to like a whole bunch. I mean, he's been a demon on special teams. He came in 2 games. Like the one game, I forget which game was, Buffalo maybe. He was out. CJ Mosley went out for 3 plays. Sherwood came in and made all 3 tackles.
Yep.
So that's, I feel good about him, but maybe you got to depend on, look, they were all drafted in the 2021 draft. They've been here. Sherwood and Nasruddin, they got to step up and be something. Wouldn't that be a nice change? The guys we drafted come in and actually hit. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be ideal.
That'd be so nice. So look, I want to get to this super chat from our friend Chris KV. Thank you, Chris. He says, we have the luxury of not having to touch a few positions, which is a first in a long time. We go safety and our secondary would be amongst the top. Now, safety, right? You both just talked about it a little bit. Now, whether or not we keep Jordan Whitehead, we can save $7 million, but this would be his second year in the system. Yep. We saw Sheldon Rankins last year. He was like, get him out of here. He's a bum. He had a very, very solid year, his second year in the system. So sometimes maybe we're a little bit quick to chop people's heads off. Give them a second, right? So maybe we keep Jordan Whitehead, but even if we do, we got to replace LaMarcus Joyner. I'm not a believer that Ashton Davis, fine as depth and special teams, but I don't think he's the guy, right? Now, here's an interesting thing. And Chris, I know you didn't send us this way, but I'm going to take what you said and then I'm going to do it. I read some stuff on Instagram earlier today, and I decided to research it. There's a realistic potential out there right now that Jamal Adams gets cut.
What are we doing?
I just know, but listen, do you think that, like, because look, he's not going to make that 18 million or whatever. The Seattle can save $11 million by getting rid of him alongside of Jordan Whitehead. Do you think that Joe Douglas could kind of, hey, I got the 2 firsts for him, bring him back at $9 million, $8 million, $9 million, and then put him as that run stuffing guy up front? Do you think there's any possibility of that, Tyson? And if not, who is your safety answer?
He's going to the Cowboys, man.
I was going to say it. Yep.
that Jamal Adams ship is so sailed for me. Like, I'm not. The name gives me like my goosebumps are coming. I get like twinge. I get like the nervous little check when you mention his name. Yeah, he's going to the Cowboys, man. I think it's done. The thing is, you wonder, like, the Jets seem to be really high on what was his name? Tony Adams. They were high on him. Like a young guy they kept grooming, because I like Pinnock. I like Jason Pinnock last year, and I was surprised he got cut. He went to the Giants, but they're high on Adams. And then do they consider, you know what? Let's go after Jimmy Ward. A guy like, is that a guy that'd be on their radar? Somebody like that. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, look, Tony Adams, we hope he's good because, like you said, we lost Pinnock for him. Robert Saleh thought Tony Adams was likely to get poached on the waiver wire. Yep. They wanted to protect him. They put Pinnock out there, and he was snatched up seconds. You know what I mean? Give me that fucking guy. And he had a pretty good year for the Giants. So hopefully this Tony Adams guy, he looked pretty good. He came in for a few snaps. He looked okay. So maybe he's an answer. But Gunny, what do you think? Who's your answer at safety? And you're with Tyson.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with Jamal Adams. I'm with Tyson on. To me, it boils down to the way he exited. Because I was one of the biggest ones saying, "Hey, pay the man." Because I did like Jamal Adams. I did. I was like, "Pay the man." You know what I'm saying? Like we drafted him. He's done some good things on defense. Yes, not a game changing impact player. It's not a premium position, but I want us to pay him. And then he showed his ass. And then the moment he showed his ass, I was like, okay, fuck you. I can't go back. I don't have it in me to go back. I don't want nothing to do with Jamal. For me, I like Ward. I think Ward makes sense. He knows the defense, familiarity with freaking Coach Saleh. It will be pretty much a plug and play kind of acquisition. I know he's up there like 34, 35 years old. But I guess in the safety realm, Jesse Bates being, of course, the premium aspect, which I don't think financially we can bring on board. What about Poyer? I mean, Poyer is somebody who, you know what I'm saying, that we've seen some good things with. I like what he's done in Buffalo. We saw the impact of him being off the field during when he was injured, how that impacted their defensive scheme. I think Poyer is somebody that we can potentially look at, depending on the price, of course, as he's about to go into free agency. But for me, I think Ward makes the most sense and probably going to be the most cost effective.
That's right. That's a good option. And Poyer, I think he signed a 1-year deal last year. And the rumor is, I think it's him. His wife hates Buffalo. That's the rumor. Hates it.
And the taxes.
Yeah, right.
A lot.
Me too, though. So I hate taxes too.
Yeah, all of us. Well, look, I mean, technically speaking, they would be paying New Jersey taxes, which are still bad, but better than New York.
Yep.
So maybe that's helpful. If you're already paying really high taxes, then just regularly a little bit lower could be a big. I'll tell you what, when I moved from Florida to Virginia, man, I haven't been paying state taxes for 15 years down in Florida. And even though Virginia is on the lower side, when obviously compared to New York, that whole area, dude, it was a life altering change. I mean, I was like, holy shit, man. Taxes, huh?
Yeah.
Florida, I tell you, it makes a whole bunch of sense. I might move back. I hated it, but boy, oh boy.
Hey, GreenBean, we don't got them either in Texas.
You don't have tax. Yeah,
no, we don't got to taxes in Texas. Nah.
Well, that's why you're getting everybody from California, man. They're like, holy shit,
true.
we're paying 30%.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. We're actually, you know what, GreenBean, we're full. I apologize. We're full. Traffic is getting a little hectic out here.
That's what I heard. I heard it that you guys were full.
No, it's
Jeffrey
bad.
R., I want to welcome you to the Stream Beaners, our newest member as of a few minutes ago, Mr. Jeffrey R. Thank you. Have at it with the fun new emojis. And again, you'll be getting a free member super chat. It's either once a month or every 2 weeks. Forgive me. I should probably learn that. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. And I appreciate it. It helps the channel, everybody. It's what keeps us going out here. Now, let me ask you this, Tyson. We were talking a little bit about Denzel Mims earlier. We didn't get to Mekhi Becton, but there's a few players that, while maybe we don't count on them to be, the starters or anything, I think most Jets fans would like to see them make something. Mekhi Becton at the top. But which guy do you think? So we got like Becton, you have Mims, and even Elijah Moore to a lesser degree. You could throw him in there. Guys that kind of disappeared. Michael Carter II. Who do you think has the most likelihood of being that guy that makes the turnaround this year and becomes maybe who we thought he was going to be, Tyson? I want to hear your opinion too, Gunny.
That's a really good question, man. Because I think we're all rooting for Becton, but he's missed 2 years. He looks like he's in phenomenal shape right now.
He does.
And the Jets desperately need offensive line help. You desperately need it. And I know he's playing for a contract, which always helps in the NFL. But I mean, you need a young stud lineman to add to this line. You want building blocks for the future, because right now it's like a mismatch. Like, you could have 3 new starters this year if things don't go the way you want. We don't know what's going on with Dwayne Brown. He got his surgery. Is he coming back? Is he retiring? If he does, if say he retires, is Mekhi Becton now your left tackle? Like, are we counting on him again? Like, how do you, that's
right.
It's a huge thing. And then the thing with Elijah Moore is a very valuable piece right now, because you have Garrett Wilson. Everybody wants to cut Corey Davis and Berrios. Well, who the hell are the receivers then?
Yeah.
Like, you went from almost like a surplus, like we actually feel comfortable with receivers, to having 2, unless you love Jess Smith. You know what I mean? Like, so Elijah Moore has a huge role in this offense, which you're hoping that he takes off, but they're both big pieces for this year, man. They have to be.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. I mean, we're a cut happy fan base. And we want to trade Quinnen, we want to fucking cut Whitehead and Carl. Get them all out of here. I want picks, more picks. That's all we want. Gunny, how do you feel about those guys? Which guy do you think has the strongest possibility of maybe turning around and being who they thought they'd be?
I'm gonna go ahead and start off like Tyson did. I think right now Mekhi Becton is showing us a lot. He's not in hiding anymore. We don't see video game posts. He's in the gym. He's working out. He's proving to us. I think he understands now as a fan base that we were grilling him. We were freaking blaming him for the injuries and whatnot. And he's putting in the extra work to almost feel like to get back in our good graces. I'm not saying just for us, but potentially for the Jets organization as well. Yep. And to me, that's telling, because he does look like he's in great shape. And everything he's posting, he's drenched in sweat because he's obviously putting in some work. Or at least I hope he is. And it's just not, him just putting water on himself for the photo op. You know what I'm saying? But as important as that is, right, I think Mekhi Becton coming back healthy and giving us 17 games would literally alleviate so much of our fears right now about what kind of an offensive line we're going to have. But we just can't depend on that. Like, we just can't depend on that going into the season, because, I do believe that this is kind of a make and break season for the coaching staff. So for me, although I would love it to be Mekhi Becton, I do believe the resurgence player that we're going to see this year is Elijah Moore. I think Elijah Moore is going to come out this season with this new regime, and they're going to utilize his strengths. You put that man in the slot, let him eat, with Garrett Wilson doing his thing on the outside, whether it's Corey Davis on a restructured contract or whoever else they bring in. I think Elijah Moore is potentially going to be the second leading receiver on this team, and it's going to be by a good margin. And I'm excited to see that. Elijah Moore, I do believe, is elite. I was one of the individuals that said we didn't need to draft a wide receiver in the first round last year. We had Elijah Moore. He was our guy. I wasn't too happy about the Garrett Wilson pick, but I learned to love it real quick. But Elijah Moore to me was my guy then. He's still my guy now. I think we're going to see a resurgence come from Elijah Moore in year 3.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. He was, I don't think it was a talent thing. Now, of course, we don't like the way he handled things, right?
No.
There's no excuse for that, in my
100%.
opinion. No excuse, especially the Jets are in our first friggin' win streak in 5 years, really, you know, and that actually means something. And then we get this. I want to be traded. Like, I don't care how you slice it. Bad way to handle it. And I'm not going to let him off the hook for that. That said, it's not a talent issue, man. I mean, he was really good his rookie year. You know, he had that stretch where, like, I forget, week 7 to 12 or some shit like that. He was a top 5 receiver. You know, he's a touchdown every week and all those kinds of things. But this year, and then he was open all the time. Whatever the reason was, like Luke actually mentioned, whether it was the fact that the quarterback couldn't find him or hit him, or if it's LaFleur making him the third read or whatever it is, something was there, but it wasn't a talent issue with him. And I think that's really a great opportunity right now to, like, if Hackett comes in and goes, wait a minute, man, like, I have Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Denzel Mims. Like, I have the potential for a very talented young receiving core. You know, we draft somebody, we bring in some people, whatever, but maybe, just maybe, with Elijah Moore out front, we can have that dynamic number 2 behind Garrett Wilson. He's already here. Wouldn't that be another one? Imagine Sherwood, Nasruddin, Elijah Moore. Holy shit. That'd be awesome. Now,
that draft turns around real quick.
Yeah, it is about that offensive line, though, man. Tyson was talking about it, right? I mean, I think it's scarier than you might think. You know, Fanta's gone. Like you said, Dwayne Brown, we don't know what's really happening with him. I mean, more than likely, he's under contract. He had the surgery. It looks like he's planning to come back. But again, he's having surgery. So he's getting older. He wasn't exactly, tops last year. He had his games, but he also had his issues. But Dwayne Brown, then you got Becton. You bring somebody in. Max Mitchell has the blood clot thing. We don't know what's going on with that. We really don't know. And then it's like we could be set up for another weird tackle abyss like we saw this year. I really hope that we do enough to support that, because it's obviously so key.
Well, you also don't forget center, man. Connor McGovern's a free agent.
Yeah. That's bad to not have a center.
But is that an important position?
Everybody wants like Aaron Rodgers, like all this stuff. I'm like, you better get him a good center in front of him, like Corey Linsley or somebody. You got to, like, you don't want him running for his life.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about that? Do you want to re-sign McGovern? You think they should take a swing at that, or are you looking to move on?
I mean, I always thought he was kind of mediocre. And for some reason, the way he handled the quarterback position, like not really supporting Zach, he didn't seem like a team guy for some reason. He just rubbed me the wrong way, the way he handled himself. So I get a feeling you probably get an upgrade there. Like, to me, it's like if you're going to have Aaron Rodgers, you almost want like a veteran center. You have your Corey Linsley or bring back McGovern. But if you bring in a Derek Carr, I almost feel more comfortable saying, maybe you can draft one or get somebody else, because they're going to work together for a few years. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's just like, I just think Aaron Rodgers being here, he's not going to tolerate like a rookie center in front of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I could be completely wrong. I have no idea, but
I get what you're thinking, though. And, and Gunny, tell me if you agree with me. I was kind of a defender of Connor McGovern. I like him. I don't love him. I like him, but I always felt like something like that too. Like, why isn't he picking the quarterback up off the ground? Why isn't he defending? Like, when there's some bullshit shenanigans, he gets late hit. Yeah. Why isn't our center out there roughing people up? Like, Mangold did that, and Mawai did that. Like, dude, they took no shit, man. And it's particularly to their quarterback. And I don't feel that with McGovern. It's almost like, fuck it, man. He shouldn't hold the ball so long or something. I got that, and I could be way off. But Gunny, did you feel the same way with McGovern?
1,000%. McGovern, I think we all learned to appreciate and like him because he was the one consistent piece on our offensive line. Mm-hmm. I think that brought him a lot of love from Jets fans, because you know what? At least our center is consistent. But in all actuality, he doesn't have that dog in him. He doesn't have that dog in him. He does not, because when it came down to it in those situations, like you guys are pointing out, he was nowhere to be found. He didn't place himself as being a dominant force on the offensive line. He was there, He's a placeholder, right? He can do his job. He can do it good enough. And he was there. You never felt like his presence was going to go ahead and shift or change the defensive line or the tone of the game, because he's just doesn't have that dog in him. But I think he's a bit soft, if I'm being honest. I think he's got a little bit of softness to him. I would like to have a guy that would punch a defensive lineman in the face because they hit the quarterback a little too
Ryan
hard, right?
Jensen, like that kind of guy.
Exactly. Ryan Jensen. I would love to have that kind of a guy. Honestly, if we go a different route, I'm 100% okay with it. But in the same token, we're talking about rebuilding the entire offensive line at that point. With so many question marks. We don't know if Laken Tomlinson knows how to play football or if he doesn't. We're still trying to figure that out. Like, I think AVT being the one singular piece that we have would go a long way in a chaotic environment. So, man, as soft as he is, I think that McGovern has value in continuity when it comes to the offensive line. But, man, if we could – again, the kid from Minnesota, I really like the kid from Minnesota. I would love to draft him in the second round if he's still there.
I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a late first.
Yeah.
But he's a stud. We were breaking him down last night in the Green Beaner. We have a weekly. If another thing, you want to join the Green Beaners, the link is in the description. We do weekly breakdowns. We got into John Michael Schmitz last night, bro. Yeah. I could taste it. I wanted him. So I'm like, oh my God, man. He's like one of the better center prospects I've seen in the last few years. I just don't think he's going to make it to us, man. I'd love to have a guy like him. He takes no shit. He's one of them. Yeah. I don't know.
He's got that dog in him. So
look, we're going to do this super chat and then we're going to go ahead and get into some trivia. You're going to get into trivia with us, Tyson. Is that all right?
Do it.
All right, so Fat Gandalf checking in. Thank you, Fat Gandalf. He says, don't most free agent contracts have low cap hits because the player receives most of their bonus in year one? Now, I can answer that, but anybody want to take a shot at explaining this, Tyson, Gunny?
No, drop your knowledge, man. We're going to sit here and enjoy your knowledge right now.
What you do?
Well, it's not like they can control the cap hit, Fat Gandalf, with the prorated bonus. Whatever you give up front as the bonus. So just to make it easy, you give somebody a 4-year contract and $10 million bonus. 2.5 million can be spread each year over the life of the life of the contract. So that essentially takes that 10 million of the contract and doesn't, it lowers it each year and spreads it out, which can lower the cap hit. Now you can do that with anything. The only thing you can't really do it with is rookie contracts. They're kind of locked in from what I understand. But yeah, man, that's why the first year you see that. A lot of times the first year is a lot lower, but they've already received their money. So if they sign a contract that's worth 20 million and it's only $2 million salary the first year, but he got 12 of the 20. You see what I mean? Because he got it all up front with the bonus. Then you just got to know that you're going to be eating it over the next few years as well. So technically, yes, but you're going to pay it no matter how you slice it. Okay, let's see. We got anything else here? Okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into some trivia. We're going to bring on the president of the Virginia Jet Fan Club, the CEO of New York Sports, Wicker Media. Let's say hello to our friend Y2K. What's up, buddy? How you doing back there?
Man, if I was doing any better tonight, I think I would be Tyson, as a matter of fact. How are we doing, guys?
What's up, man?
There you go. Well, that's
fantastic,
good.
Man.
Well, good. We're happy to have you. As you guys know, Y2K hangs out in the chat. He's backstage with us. If we need any stats or anything like that, he helps us out a great deal, just like Jeremy. And but his main, the best function that he provides us is the trivia. He is the guy that does I don't do anything. Y2K shows up and it's ready to go. So Y2K, let me just explain the rules real quick, and then you're up and you'll take care of it. Guys, he's going to ask us a question, something that is jet related, usually situationally related too. So combine, maybe we're going to see some free agent questions or something. We have 4 minutes to answer the question. We are not allowed to use search engines, Encyclopedia Britannica, and no phoning a friend. All right. We can't do that. We want to see if we can answer the question with our knowledge. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, screw you, I'm going to search engine. Everybody's going to see how smart I am. But we're going to try the honor system. Let's do this and see if we know what we're talking about. Y2K, you are up.
Okay, so a few minutes ago, I heard you guys talking a little bit about positional needs, one of which was the center position. So the Jets are known for having a pretty good history of centers. As a matter of fact, they have drafted 3 players in their history who have made the Pro Bowl as a center. Your job tonight is to name those 3 players, and your 4 minutes starts now.
In our entire history?
Yeah, so Jets picks who made the Pro Bowl as a center. There are 3 of them.
Joe Fields, Mangold, right?
Very good and very good.
Jim
Mangold made
Sweeney.
7 and Fields made 2.
Jim Sweeney.
Jim Sweeney is incorrect.
Ooh. Okay, so that Mawai is not a draft pick. As
Joe
we know.
Schmidt. Was it Schmidt? That was his name.
Yeah, I think I know who you're thinking of.
Well, you got Joe Fields. A lot of people are on our boy Joe Fields.
Yeah, I think you think of John Schmidt, who was bought
John
by
Schmidt.
Jim Otto for a lot of years from the Raiders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jonathan Goodwin. He never made the Pro Bowl with us.
No, he did not. Curly Norman just has a way of pulling out these answers. Man, Curly Norman is my nemesis, man. Yeah, Jonathan Goodwin made it in 2019 with the New Orleans Saints.
It's got to be.
Jonathan Goodwin is the correct answer.
It is?
Jonathan Goodwin.
What?
He didn't make the
Oh,
Pro
so
Bowl
they
with us.
didn't
He
have
made
to
the
be
Pro
with
Bowl
the
I
Jets.
just said Jets draft picks. I never said they had to be in Jets.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it.
I was
I
thinking
word
draft.
them very carefully for that.
Very well.
I gotta say,
Sneaky.
I have to say, I got thrown by that because he
Yeah.
did it. He did all his good stuff with the Saints.
That's right.
Yeah.
4 years with the Jets, and then down, just like Vilma, down in New Orleans, he went and had a very quietly solid career. And 1 year,
Yeah.
he made the Pro Bowl.
He wasn't good enough for us. We wanted to get rid of him. I remember that. Nobody liked Jonathan Goodwin, man. He wasn't good enough for us and our
So
fans.
we cut him and he became a Pro Bowler.
4 years.
that the way?
And so now Joe Douglas is doing what these other teams used to do to us. We take advantage of them, sign them after that first 4 years or so are up, and then we get them at their peak. Well, in most cases, it seems to work. But
Yeah, well, look, you got,
Yeah,
like you said, Jonathan Vilma went down there. We got Goodwin. Then we had Demario Davis.
oh my
We let
gosh.
him go. What an interesting move. Remember that?
Terrence Mathis went to Atlanta, but it still feels
Yeah,
like
Atlanta.
the same thing.
Right. But what an interesting move. McCagnon trades. Well, he lets Demario Davis go, but then he brings him back. He trades Calvin Pryor. Terrible draft pick, by the way. Hated it the second it happened. We trade Calvin Pryor for Demario Davis. He comes here and he has his best season. He wants to stay. He openly says, I want to stay.
Yep.
And we don't even call him. That was we didn't even contact him. No, we have no interest. What the fuck is that, Tyson? What is that?
That's an all-pro linebacker going to New Orleans.
That's what it is.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God. Incredible. So Jonathan Goodwin, that was a quick one, man. So who got it? Curly Norman. Congratulations, Curly
Curly
Norman.
Norman saving grace for this for the chat quite a few times now. At least 3 times he has pulled out random answers that I thought were going to be tough to get. But he did it.
Have y'all see his comment? I keep a log of Jets draft picks who go on to great careers with other teams. It's a mental disease.
How many pages is it, dude?
That's the Encyclopedia Britannica right there for you.
Right. Fucking 80 pages long. Oh my God. That's
the shorthand version.
All right. So look, we have reached the 10 o'clock hour, but I'm going to say this. I'm in the mood to hang out tonight. So I'm probably going to do another half hour or something. Tyson, you are welcome to hang. But if you got to go, you did your 9 to 10.
I want more trivia, man. Let's do some trivia here. This is
Want
fun.
to do another trivia?
do
Hey,
another
Y2K. All right, look, go ahead. Y2K, get another one on deck. Hi ho,
I'm
B.
ready.
Hi ho, Jets fan. Mike B. It's got a super chat. So I'm going to do this one. And now, Mike, you are entered into the T-shirt drawing that we will do before the end of the show as well, along with everybody else that gave us a super chat tonight, and any that make it in here before the show's over anyway. So everybody will be in the contest. But Mike, let's do your super chat. Then Y2K is going to give us another trivia question per Tyson's request. I like it. He says, looks like you are feeling better, GreenBean. So happy to see this. Go Jets. Hope we get some me quarterback news. Me? What is it? What do you think they really meant there?
I think he meant new.
New, right? Yeah, okay, new.
Some new
We're there.
quarterback news
Well,
this week.
now look, now that you reminded me that I wasn't feeling well, I forgot that I wanted to continue getting sympathy for it. So now I don't feel so good. I shouldn't have said it. Tyson, I'm not sure if you knew this, but I actually had a couple weeks ago, my face all of a sudden went, what side was it? This side just started going numb and I couldn't whistle. And I was like, oh shit, I'm having a stroke. And I went to the hospital and it turns out I had Bell's palsy, which the right half of my face just stopped working for like 10 days, 2 weeks, something like just everything. So I was talking, my F's, I sounded like Daffy Duck and shit. It was the weirdest thing in the whole world. Obviously, I'm happy it wasn't a stroke, but that was a weird period, man. My whole face went numb. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
It was a good one. It was a good one. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Then I had food poisoning and everything else. So I had a rough go there for about 2 weeks. It was rough. But he wants to get some quarterback news this weekend. Now, Y2K, I'll throw it to you real fast. Any likelihood that, what is it? It's Thursday. You think by Sunday we know who our quarterback is?
Free agency starts in a week and a half. This thing has to be coming down towards the end because this cannot linger into the tampering period for free agency. I mean, think about it. If you can be Joe Douglas, you can be recruiting a player, selling him on all this new young talent and how the Jets are on the way up. If I'm a player, my first question is, well, who's going to play quarterback for this team?
Bingo.
That is something that has to be solved one way or another, and it has to be addressed by the middle of March before the tampering period begins. I don't know if the Jets have a self-imposed deadline on what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, but I really hope they do because, they don't need to be dragged around just waiting for him to make his decision. Aaron Rodgers is maybe the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play the game. But the Jets are not in a position where they should be begging and groveling and waiting. So if Derek Carr wants to be a Jet, if Derek Carr decides the Jets are his fit, then I would pursue it right away and make the contract offer. I'd rather have the very good. I need to assure myself one of those two quarterbacks.
Right.
I need that. And if Carr's the one who's available now and he wants to be here, then that's who I'm going with.
Tyson. Number one, I agree with you, bro. And I'm like alarmingly nervous secretly. I'm not pushing it out front, but I am kind of freaking out that if we don't get one of those two, what we're left with. Tyson, who's number one after Carr and Rodgers? Who's the guy? If we lose them, who do you want to make sure the Jets get?
Oh man. I have this is where this sweat starts coming down like everything else. I get this feeling Garoppolo's going to the Raiders. I just think he's going there. I think Garoppolo's not coming to the Jets. That's just me with a complete guess. And then if the reports are true and Tannehill's staying with the Titans, then you hit the oh shit button because I told everybody that I know if Jacoby Brissett comes to the Jets, I'm done with content creation. I'm done doing YouTube. I'm done doing everything. I'm done. I'm not taking. Really? Don't sell me this dream of we're getting this quarterback. We're getting a quarterback and pulling me out some Jacoby Brissett because I'm done. I will be 100% done because it'd be just more disappointment. But I don't know where you go with that. I mean, you're talking what? Minshew, Baker, Mayfield. Like this is just the disappointment that will settle in there. At that point, I'm like, give me Mike White back. I'd rather take Mike White. Take my lumps for here and see what happens. Because, like, what do you do if there's no Jimmy G and no Tannehill, and you lost Carr and Rodgers? It's a crapshoot. Like, what do you really do at that point? Like,
it really is.
Let's take Daniel Jones away from the Giants if that happens.
For $45 million a year.
I know, dude. Where's he? He got a sack on him.
If I see Carson Wentz is making $32 million a year, shoot, what? I see Kyler Murray's making $45 million a year. Why wouldn't I ask for 45? May as well take a shot at it. It only takes one sucker.
All right, so. Look, Carr, when you start talking about Wentz and all that, I get really nervous, man. Like I just do. And like, your initial reaction, Tyson, is really, it nails it. It's like, yes, any of these quarterbacks are going to be better than what we've seen the last 5 years, without question, any one of them. Yep. But, like if we don't get one of these two guys and we end up falling back to perpetually injured Jimmy G and then, Tannehill, who's, I mean, dude, he's old and he's good, but I feel like, I don't know. He's very unexciting to me and I feel like he's limited. And if asked to win the game, he's just not able to do that. I just don't see that on him. And then, Baker Mayfield. I love Gardner Minshew, but that can't be the the big signing. You know what I mean? It just can't. It's like, we're paying him $6 million fucking a year. We can't do that. I get nervous, man. Well, let me ask you guys this. Okay, assuming we get our guy, who do you want as backup? Tyson, you brought up Mike White, but is that who you want as backup this year? Like number 2, I mean. Not Zach's going to be on the team. Will hopefully be number 3. Who do you think's the backup? Who's of choice? Who's your backup?
Well, I think the problem is going to be money. How much money does he want? Because you have, say, if you're going to give Derek Carr, just in theory, $35 million a year, right? Zach Wilson's making what, 8? How much is Zach Wilson making?
I think it's 10 or 11.
Well, yeah, it's even more than that.
Change.
So then you can't give Mike White $8 million a year too. You can't have all that money invested in the quarterback position. And I also think Mike White probably wants to go to the Rams. And you know what? I'm getting at it because there's no way you can keep Zach Wilson and Mike White in the same team. Because everybody knows, like it's like your arch rival sitting next to you in the locker room, right? So
it really is,
right?
You're so right. And there's another thing that happens if you pay attention to just NFL history when there's a starting quarterback, somebody who's the known starter for a team, when they move away from that starter, it's like 99 out of 100 times the team moves on from that player. They don't keep him here. Now imagine bringing on Derek Carr and keeping Zach and Mike White. Like, holy shit, what a clusterfuck that would be. Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel similarly. Gunny, what do you think? If you think it's going to be Zach, Mike White, and whoever, or do you think we should move on and maybe get a Brissett for backup kind of a thing?
Yeah, no, I don't think Mike White's going to be on the team. I just don't see it either. To me, it would be. I'm with Tyson. The more and more you look at it, it makes more sense. He's going to follow Mike LaFleur to LA. You got Matthew Stafford right now, who's on his last leg. I think he might believe he gets an opportunity to really showcase his skill set. The Rams have a decent offensive line that might allow him to go ahead and stay upright for a little bit. The Rams make too much sense for me. I just don't see us putting that kind of money into the quarterback room. And for me, I would be okay with Jacoby Brissett. I'd be elated with Jacoby Brissett as quarterback too on this roster. I think that gives you a level of security that we really haven't had. Mike White being often injured, even though when he does play, he excites us. He's injured too much for us to go ahead and see it fully. So I think Jacoby Brissett in the QB2 role would be ideal.
Wait,
but something tells me
I had a question. I mean, you don't want the corpse of Joe Flacco to come back?
God no! Why not? Please, God no! Listen. They should have shot that man on the field. Like, I mean, week 3. They should have just been done with him then. I'm surprised he hasn't announced his retirement yet. Talking about he still has some. What are you talking? We've all seen the corpse of you just walking around and getting paid for the last 2 years. You're telling people really realistically that you still can play? That's just shameful if you ask me. I think he should have been put down a long time ago, like a rabid dog that he is. It is what it is.
Yeah, well, he's just hoping he can get a job as a number 2 for somebody who actually stays healthy the whole freaking year.
Exactly. I heard the XFL's hiring.
Yeah, I mean, he would love to hold a clipboard. He would, dude, they, at the end of the year, they showed and they did this twice actually, which makes it funny, but they showed Joe Flacco sitting on the bench and he had the slow blink. He was doing this.
Taking a nap.
Yeah, he's like, and he's clicked off. He's fucking clicked off. Sam Aiken, thank you. I know the Jamal Adams thing, and just so you know, I'm not into it either, but it was talked about today, so I was just bringing it up.
Is he talking about Adams or Pryor? Which safety?
No, he's talking about Adams. Nobody even remembers. Nobody gives 2 shits about Pryor.
Some people think of Calvin Pryor as like a curse word. So
the Louisville Slugger, remember that? They tried to sell us that one. The Louisville Slugger. All right, Leo, we'll get to this one, and then Watu-K's got a trivia question on deck for us. Leo, thank you for the super chat. He says, as much as I want Rodgers, maybe it's a smart business decision to get Carr instead. Okay, we're having some processing here, some intellect. He's getting out of the emotional realm, and he's looking at this with intelligence, I think. And we can then improve the team. I do want Rodgers, but maybe, just maybe, not giving away the picks and maybe having an extra fucking $80 million over the next couple of years could help us. Exactly. Holy shit. Now, it'd be one thing, right, if we're talking about one guy's great and the other guy sucks, right? That it's a different story. And I know some fans do think Carr sucks, but I'm not in that camp. And I respect everybody's opinion, but I don't know, man. Tyson, business decision. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before, but now, like Leo's thinking, if it's all there and the the Packers say we want a first round pick or something, are you just pivoting and saying, screw this, I want Carr?
You can make, if you're going to talk business, you can make a very good business case for Derek Carr. You can. Dollars and cents, all of it, the compensation in the draft, your short-term and long-term success. I mean, Derek Carr is not a one-year hit. It's not a 2-year. They could be a 4 or 5 year answer. Aaron Rodgers is maybe a 1-year answer, possibly 2 years. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I can make a really good case for Derek Carr. Like I said, I like him more than most people do, and I get all the hate, and I understand all of it, but he's a team guy. He's a very good guy. He's a good piece to the puzzle. And, Derek Carr is not like everybody says he's not going to bring a team to the Super Bowl. He alone will not do that. But you could put a good defense on the field, good playmakers around him, and a good coaching staff, and that gets you in the mix. The goal is get in the playoffs, be in the mix, and have a chance. I think he gives you that. Same thing as Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers gives you a chance. It's not a slam dunk. It's not like he has like 12 rings right now. It's not like he's got his MVPs, which is great, but it's been a while since he's been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that
if Joe Flacco and Nick Foles can win Super Bowls, you can't tell me that Derek Carr can't. And it seems like more people around the media are starting to figure out what people like us were saying for a while now. I see a complete parallel between Matthew Stafford and Derek Carr. The stats are so similar. The situations are so similar. There is no reason in my mind Derek Carr can't be what Matt Stafford became when he went to the Rams.
There's only one catch though. Sean McVay. That's the catch.
Yeah.
That's where I like Derek. Like I like Derek Carr, but my concern is the offensive coordinator and the staff they put in place. Because if we're being completely honest, when the name Hackett was first mentioned, we're like, oh Jesus Christ, he just got fired in Denver. He sucks. But wait, he can get you Aaron Rodgers. I love the Hackett hire. Hackett's a great hire. Wait, you hated him 3 weeks ago, but now everybody loves Hackett. Nobody likes Downing, but Downing's got ties to Derek Carr. Now everybody loves him. I mean, the coaching staff is a question mark, man. Like we may have a good team and a good roster, but the coaches may not be what we need. Like it depends on what you think of what these guys can do. Can they fix this offense? Will the defense stay somewhat the same? And what is Saleh going to do? Because it didn't end well, but he blamed everything I blamed on the quarterback.
That's one reason I brought
LaFleur. Well, the thing is too with McVay out there. Now it's not just McVay; it's McVay and Mike LaFleur. Oh man, the collection of brains that they have over there. But it's a great point that Tyson brings up, Gunny. I think a lot of people, obviously, the way he, 15 games into his inaugural coaching, head coaching stint, he's gone. Not even till the end of the season. So that's a bad taste. A lot of people, what made the Hackett thing okay was, he's tight with Rodgers, 2 MVPs just a year ago. Now, if he can't get us Rodgers, does that diminish it to you, the Hackett thing? Or maybe you were there anyway. What do you think about that if Rodgers doesn't come here with Hackett?
So I'll be the first to admit, Hackett wasn't one of the guys that I had in my dream list, right? Like I had a dream list of individuals. I had Monken on it. I was hoping Frank Reich would consider being an OC, like, a real wish list of individuals that I had, even Greg Olson, I had, better feelings about. But when Hackett came on board, I won't lie to you, I sold myself on, okay, this is a guy that was the OC with Aaron Rodgers, 2 MVP seasons just a couple years ago. Head coach and offensive coordinator are 2 very different positions. He sucked at it as a head coach, but look at Todd Bowles. We've seen him take a Super Bowl caliber team and run it into the ground, but the man can coach a defense, right? So I'm finding correlations to kind of make it seem like, okay, Hackett could potentially be the guy if we're getting the guy that made the Jaguars look decent when he was the OC over there, right? So like I'm looking at those connections. For me, as long as it's Rodgers or Carr, I'm okay with seeing what this coaching staff can do on the offensive side, because I think when you have like players like a Breece Hall, you got a guy like Garrett Wilson who performed in spite of the offensive coaching and the offensive talent around him. I do believe we've got some of those like unique, like elite pieces in a Breece Hall and a Garrett Wilson that can overshadow some things. You put a competent quarterback in play and hopefully a competent offensive game plan. I feel like this Jets team, again, we don't know if this defense is going to be a top 5 defense next year. Even if we brought back every single person, no way you can sit here and tell me we're going to be that lucky again, knock on wood, with health or performance. It's just not realistic to believe that's going to be the norm. But if our guys are a top 10 defense and our offense takes a jump into that mid-tier, that's a playoff caliber team. I've been on record saying that if we had the performance of a Jacoby Brissett on the roster last season with that elite defense, we win the AFC East. We only lost 5 games. We lost 5 games.
Brissett did have a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio last year.
Exactly.
I mean, he was a competent quarterback.
But the whole thing is, with all that, it's like any of the guys we're talking about, whether it's Tannehill, Carr, like you said, Brissett, any of those guys, and everything else was the same. Even the offensive line injuries, if everything was the same, we at least are in the playoffs, and there's a very good chance we win the AFC East. That's how crazy this whole thing is, which is like, I think what makes like Tannehill or Jimmy G a disappointment is that we have an opportunity right now to go higher. We have an opportunity to actually take a swing and pull in somebody that is just such a stronger candidate to be a good leader for us. And then if we whiff, even though it's going to be better than last year, it's just, you can't help but be disappointed. We're in a tough spot, honestly. Now I want to just remind everybody, we're hanging out a few extra minutes. We're going to do a trivia question. WA2K is up. Every single person that put a super chat in tonight is going to be entered to win the t-shirt. That's how we'll close the show tonight. If you put in 2 super chats, Jeremy, give them two things, but don't put them together because we're going to do the list. I'll show you. We'll just mix them up and we'll do it later. But if you put in more than one, just know you're going to be represented for every super chat that you put in to make this even. So for trivia question number 2, what do you got for us, WA2K?
Well, this is going to be another draft-related question, but I'm trying to think of something that Curly Norman won't have in his encyclopedia of knowledge right up there. I've got. You know what? Here's a question I'm going to give you. I'm only going to be asking for one answer. I think this is one that you all can get. In franchise history, the New York Titans / Jets have made 60 draft picks in the 4th round. Only one of them has made a Pro Bowl. Who is it?
Leon Washington? No, that's
Jason Fabini. Really?
That's it.
What? Leon.
I had a feeling that one wasn't as hard.
Holy
as
shit,
Leon.
Tyson.
Tyson.
No wonder he wanted. Yeah, there's a reason he wanted another question.
Yeah, right. He felt good. He was feeling good, man. Tyson just walked out on the mound and went like this. First pitch, blam.
I have worthless knowledge in my head.
Hey, you're right. Okay, look, it comes up useful every now and then. You know. So look, let me ask you guys this, and I'll go all the way around. The defense, right? We were a top 5 defense last year, and this is one of the things that I've been tossing around in my head. It's like a lot of Jets fans were just assuming. Now we talked about some of the guys we might lose and all that jazz, but do you think it's more likely that we'll, remain in that top 5, top 10 even? Defensive side of things, or do you expect more of a kind of a come back down to earth sort of thing? Like last year was kind of a miracle year in some respects. And Tyson, I'll go to you first, and then we'll go around. But how do you feel about that with the defense? Are we likely to be kind of similar? Is this our defense, or are we looking at maybe a little bit of a disappointment?
Well, I mean, I think they'll probably top 10. I think they won't be top 5, they'll be top 10. I think they got a lot of benefits last year, man. Playing backup quarterbacks, they got some lucky bounces, things like that. So I think top 10 is still great. I mean, I kind of want to find a way to bring Carl Lawson back, but we talked about it earlier. You could revamp your linebackers. You can be looking at new safeties, losing Sheldon Rankins. So I think they'll be top 10. The thing that could help them though is a better offense. A better offense actually keeps them off the field for once. They're not trying to carry the thing all the way around. So I don't think top 5, but I think top 10.
Top 10. What do you think, Gunny?
Yeah, so Tyson kind of stole my thunder a little bit, right? So I was going to go ahead and state that it all depends on the improvement on the offensive side. That's where my mindset is. I don't believe Tyson makes a very valid point. We stayed healthy too. We were one of the healthiest defenses in the NFL last year, right? And yeah, we did play a lot of guys who were either banged up or their backup quarterbacks. I do believe we've got those core pieces on the defensive line, with Quinnen. I'm a big fan of JJ. I do think JJ's going to take a big step on the edge. If Carl Lawson would restructure his contract and come back, I'm 100% on board with keeping Carl. I really want to see Bryce Huff, with more reps at pass rushing again. He got clocked several times this season with the fastest get off of the line. I like our defense. I really do. But I do believe we had some things go our way this past season. I do believe top 10 is more realistic. However, with that said, if our offense is an average NFL offense, I think we're in the top 5 again. Only because that allows these guys to play more of an aggressive aspect. If we're playing with a lead and those guys can actually catch a breather, I think that we have the tools to go ahead and not have to worry about rotations as much. Those guys can go ahead and stay in there and keep impacting and destructing games. I think if our offense takes a huge step, we stay in that top 5 realm. If our offense does not take a big enough step, then I think top 10 is more realistically where we wind up hovering at over the season.
Interesting, man. Like the offense, dude, if our offense could keep them off a little bit, I mean, you're talking about 2-3 less drives a game that they don't even have to think about. Imagine that. Watch UK. Where do you stand on this one?
Think about some of the quarterbacks that we got to face next year on the schedule that we didn't this year. Mahomes, Herbert, Hurts, Jones. The level of competition is going up a level, boys. We can't deny this. Now, the Jets this past year, they were 4th in points allowed per game and yards allowed per game. But I think what makes it more impressive to me is, and I'm going to go back to what you all just alluded to, the offense gave them horrible field position a whole lot, and special teams did as well. Yep. So there are a lot of times the opposing team would start at the 40-yard line or at midfield, and the Jets would stop them 10, 20 yards, maybe set up a field goal attempt. Yep. So I feel like for years the Jets have been in a losing battle with field position, where they would have some of the worst starting field position. Their opponents would have some of the best. Having a better offense is going to help the defense because they're not going to feel like they have to win the games by themselves. And by the end of the season, that's all we had to hope on. Because we knew it was like if the defense doesn't score a touchdown, they're not going to win. And the defense never scored a touchdown all season, amazingly enough. But I love that they can rush the passer. I love that they can cover. The run defense, if we can learn to stop a screen pass, that would make me very happy. I would love for them to learn how to stop a screen pass. But there has to be a focus next year on turning the other team over. They average less than 1 turnover per game, 16 turnovers in 17 games. With the level of talent that they have, I think they're capable of doing a whole lot more than that next year. And that can make them, they might give up a few more points. They might give up a few more yards, but they get more turnovers and set up an offense with good field position with a, dare I say, very good quarterback. That's going to make the offense look even better. And that's complimentary football for you.
I heard top 3 defense out of Y2K's mouth. That's what he thinks. Okay, you're on record.
In the division, yes, they will be a top 3 defense.
There it is. E-Boogie checking in. Thank you, E-Boogie. Hey, Tyson, this one's for you, Tyson. Will Primetime ever accept that Aaron Rodgers is not coming to the Jets? Well, I don't know specifically about that, but what do you think? Is does he have some accepting to do over there?
We had some very heated debates last couple of weeks, man. It's just he is Aaron Rodgers or bust. He hates Derek Carr for some reason. I don't know why. It's like Aaron Rodgers is A and Derek Carr is like C-. It's like he's just down on him. So yeah, I mean, I think he just what it is? He's very frustrated, man. Season ticket holder. He wants to win.
Yeah.
Tired of the bullshit. And you want to be king of the castle for once in a while. You want to be a prominent team. You want to win. And when your owner comes out and says, "I'm willing to spend money," the Jets want this quarterback. You start buying into the hype, man. You're fully vested in it now, right? So you think Aaron Rodgers or bust, and that's where he is, man. I appreciate it. I just know how this team functions.
Well, look, Primetime's not alone, man. I mean, there are lots of Jets fans. I mean, fans across the NFL. Again, we talked about it. I think Derek Carr gets a really bad rap. I mean, he's a 4,000-yard receiver pretty much quarterback. Yeah, just about every single year. And that's with really just against the odds, man. It's just I don't know, but I get it. So you're not going to change some minds.
There's just this notion that Derek Carr cannot win a Super Bowl. He cannot win playoff games. He can't beat Mahomes. He can't beat Josh Allen. He can't beat all these. That's just a thinking that's out there, man. And that's, teach their own.
Yeah. So, hey, well, look, maybe Primetime won't have to accept shit. And that's the guy we get. Wouldn't that, maybe that's where we are. All right. We have an interesting question from G Money here. this is a good way to look at it. So let's deconstruct this a bit. What if we pivot? We don't go for the big expensive guy. We get a $15 million, $10 million Minshew, Mayfield, Brissett. But because of that, we add Poyer, Jesse Bates, a top linebacker, a wide receiver, and we keep all our own guys. Tyson, does that help you? Do you pivot from Carr and Rodgers and go, all right, I'll take Mayfield, and I can do all this?
Nope. 1,000% no, and no.
No.
The NFL is a quarterback-driven league, and I do not want my plan F at quarterback. But I appreciate if you're going to do all that, you might just tank the season and go for Caleb Williams next year. Just tank it.
There you go.
We're going to spend $35 million on free agent safeties. Is that what we're going to do here?
Like the Seahawks.
That's the wide receiver market stinks for free agency.
We're going to cap hell and have no quarterback.
Jacoby Myers wants $15 to $20 million a year. The most memorable play in his career will be his pass to Chandler Jones in Las Vegas. Now, if you could get me David Long at linebacker, I would be very, very happy. But I don't think we're committing that much money to a linebacker.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's as far as the question, though, it's like, like I mentioned earlier, one of the things I'm considering is the draft picks and the money and all that for Rodgers versus Carr. So it's just kind of an extension to that. I get what you're doing there, G Money, but Tyson just nailed it. He said, we'll be in cap hell and not have a quarterback. So that's kind of, we've seen that before. Yeah. We've rolled that tape out before. Good players all over the place, and yet we can't do shit because we have a quarterback who throws dirt balls. He's like,
does he want to sign Mayfield, Minshew? G-Money, do you want all three of those quarterbacks or just one of them?
An open competition.
Oh, my God. That'd be
competition. Oh, you're all three of them. Okay.
And you know what? I'll let Strebler try it out. And that rate. Throw Strebler in the competition while we're at it. Make Tony Alexio happy while we're at it.
Right. So we're going to sign Baker and Minshew. And we're going to have a three-way thing with Baker, Minshew, and Zach.
Yep.
And we'll see. We'll get somebody's going to pop out of that one and take us to the promised land. Maybe that's what G-Money's
They might as well just do punt, pass, and kick at the stadium. Let a fan try out while we're at it too. Then
I'm up.
I think a lot of Jets fans forget that the most important position in this game, in all of sports, is the quarterback. And I can understand the logic, G-Money, of potentially, hey, buying another year. But I think what we also need to realize is none of us expected Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall to be this good this fast.
Right.
When you're looking at those premium positions that we're going to have to pay in the next 4 years, which there's no way we're going to be able to keep all these guys if they keep playing at this level, you got to take advantage of that. You're talking about 3 young guys on rookie contracts that could literally be top 5 at their positions in the league. Sauce Gardner's already number 1. Garrett Wilson has top 5 capability. Breece Hall has top 5 capability. You can't waste that playing around with Mayfield, Minshew, and Brissett for the next couple of years. That's why.
That's what happened. No, you're so right, Gunny. Right. That's what happened. It's like, now look, the team is actually built pretty well, man. Yeah. I mean, if this rookie quarterback that we have, if he was playing even average football, the team, and we can do this while he's on his rookie contract. It's actually built pretty solidly. But Gunny nailed it. The fact that Sauce and Garrett and Breece, assuming he comes back with AVT, and then the guy you bring in for Sauce's partner, DJ Reed, like, dude, they're playing lights out. Like, you can't just go, all right, well, they'll be good for the next 4 years, and we'll just kind of mosey along with Zach. You just can't. It changed things. It changed the plan, and we do have to accelerate it. Dude, Zach might end up being, he's 23 years old, whatever. Who knows what his future is? But right now, we cannot roll out with fucking Zach Wilson as our. You can't do it, dude. Nope. You can't. I mean, he was being booed for the first play of the game towards the end of the boo. The game didn't start. You know what I mean? Boo. Hate him. That's where it was with this guy. So I don't know. But yeah, G-Money, I get what you're saying. And there's nothing wrong with exploring things, right? There's nothing wrong with it. That's kind of what we do. It's how you land on things. You explore the things that are outside the comfort. That's how you land on. I'm with you. Sad part is I think we're all on the other side of that one. We're saying, no, thank you for that one.
Yep.
I think we can get them all. We'll fucking get Derek Carr, Poyer, Jesse Bates. Why not? We're getting all of them, man. That's what we're doing. I get those DMs all the time.
Tomlinson.
Right. I get those DMs all the time. Somebody they send me a list. Here's what I want this year. And it's every single free agent.
They really do think you're Santa, don't they?
Maybe that's what it is. Hey, Santa, can I have a Jesse Bates? G Money checking back in. He says, so we don't get Rodgers or Carr, we cry. It may, well, that's great point, G Money. In the event we can't get them, of course, we're going to have to pivot. I think if you're asking us, our choice is not to.
But GreenBean. But you know what though? If this situation happens, Joe Douglas has to get roasted because you literally met with Derek Carr twice. Like you have the chance to get it done with Derek Carr right now. The only thing holding you back is you're waiting for Aaron Rodgers. If this doesn't go in your favor, if you say, you know what, I gotta wait. Derek Carr goes somewhere else. You miss on Rodgers. That's all on Joe Douglas, dude. It seriously is because you couldn't commit to the guy that was there. You waited. It blew up in your face. You took your shot. You missed.
I could not agree more. Look, I'm a relatively known Joe Douglas supporter. I have no problem saying the things that I think he's done wrong. No problem. But I still think what he's done for this organization far outweighs what he hasn't done. But Zach Wilson is a fucking whiff, a big one. And if he has this opportunity now, like Tyson just said, he met with Derek Carr twice. We had him in our facility for 3 days. They took him out. The players came in and hung out with him. They played a little bit of kickball. They did the whole thing. And you miss, and we end up with Baker Mayfield, dude. That is a whiff of epic proportions. Baker Mayfield better come out and be a Pro Bowler because if he's not, Joe Douglas's feet have to be held over to the fire. I mean, there's no other way to do it. This is an opportunity right now, and we have to capitalize on it. You said it before. Our owner came out and he does what he talks fucking too much, but he said, I'm willing to spend $1 billion on a quarterback. And you can't have that and then come out, well, yeah, he's willing to spend it, but I decided Jacoby Brissett's our guy. You can't do it.
I think it's crazy though. Some Jets fans honestly are saying Carr doesn't want to come here. Carr doesn't want to come here. Why go on the second date with us then if you don't want to come here? Like, how many of us are going on a second date with somebody we find repulsive or we want nothing to do with? It just doesn't happen.
Because of the Italian food we gave him. He's like, man, you got any more of that?
Got any more of that good food?
They're working their way up the stakes, and maybe they should have taken him to Harold's Deli. That's where they had to go, right?
They're gonna break out the cupcakes.
That's
personally.
Oh my God!
Carr coming out. Carr coming out. And saying he was willing to, hey, $35 million a year is all I'm looking for, which would undercut what we're going to have to go ahead and take as a hit for Aaron Rodgers, is very telling. People are not looking into that enough. Why would Carr go out there and let his team spill the beans on what he's looking to make annually at $35 million a year? Why? It undercuts Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
It undercuts Aaron Rodgers. Like, to me, it's very telling that he allowed that to slip out. He's met with us twice. I think Carr wants to be a Jet. I think right now, I really believe it's man, I'm with Tyson, man. I think Joe is dragging his feet because he's really kind of hoping Aaron Rodgers is the guy.
But Gunny, I have a question for you though. Now, this is the one thing this is where my cynicism and negative old Jet fan shit comes in is Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh could be like, you know what? This Derek Carr kid, he is the Jet kind of guy we want. And Woody Johnson's like, I can give two shits about Derek Carr. I want Aaron Rodgers, my shiny toy. I've got to sell tickets because right now I can't sell tickets. I'm actually losing season ticket holders. Like, the Jets are not marketable as we speak. Everybody loves Sauce Gardner. They're not buying tickets to see him. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, you're going to sell tickets. And I think Woody Johnson is now saying, you know what? I understand. I love your meetings with Derek Carr. It's great. Buy him all the stuff you want. Give me Aaron Rodgers. And I think that is a part of this. I genuinely think that could be the issue where Saleh and Douglas say, you know what, we want Carr. And Woody's like, you wait first until I say you can do it.
I hear you.
Tyson, that makes perfect sense.
I'm choosing not to believe that. I'm choosing. Woody's had his fucking fingers in the sauce for 2 decades. Everything he's done has blown up in his face. I think it's time, all the way to Tebow. He wanted Tebow to sell tickets. Yep. I get it. Money talks, bullshit walks. And you could be 100% right. I refuse at this point to entertain that. No, Joe Douglas has full control of the roster, and he's going to make the best decision. And that's what I hope, and that's what I'm sticking with.
You think right now, if Joe Douglas went to Woody Johnson and said, you know what, this meeting in Indy was phenomenal. You just saw Derek Carr. They met him. Woody met him too. We want to sign him tonight. We want to break the bank and do this without knowing Aaron Rodgers' intentions. You think Woody signs off on it?
Yes.
No. Yeah, I do.
No, I
Yes,
disagree. Actually,
Yeah, no, I do. But I think Joe
we
Douglas
are
and
split down
I
the
think-
middle, boys.
But Joe Douglas, I think, he wants to wait for Rodgers. I think that, the caliber of quarterback, I mean, like we've talked about, it's different. You know what I mean? It's Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. And I think everybody in the camp wants to wait to at least see what he's going to do. But if they start feeling like they're going to lose Carr, and that's where they want to go, I think they're going to do it, because here's the real ticket seller: winning.
Yep.
Yes, Aaron Rodgers yes. But if Derek Carr gives us a viable chance to actually win and get this team late in the season, we're going to the playoffs. We're fighting for the division. We're going for fucking home field advantage, home playoff games. That's going to weigh just as much as the face of Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. I hear you. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I just choose to believe the other side. That's where I am. E-boogie's with you though, Tyson. That's what he says.
I fear Woody Johnson when it comes to the Jets not making the playoffs, the Jets getting negative press, the Jets can't sell tickets. Now's when Woody Johnson makes me nervous. It just does. So
all right. So yeah, well, look, it happened before. It's happened before. But don't forget, this is also the first GM that has GM powers since Tannenbaum. You know what I mean? So since then, we've had coaches and GMs at the same. This is everything's different. That's what I think. Maybe not. Maybe I'm fucking, like you said, you're cynical. I'm choosing not to be. Believe me, I'm there too. I get it. I'm with it. It's a choice. That's what you're right. So let's bring on our good friend and producer of the Thursday Thick of It, Jeremy from Jets Chaos, and we're going to do this little t-shirt contest. And see, now this is our first time doing it, so we're going to work through it. It's probably going to be a bunch of mistakes and shit, and we'll just see how we get there. But let's say hello to Jeremy, who is in California, and he's letting us know it's dinner time. Isn't it dinner time over there, Jeremy? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, my wife cooks on Thursdays, and she's like 7:30 is the latest, but she's giving me some grace time.
So we got 8 minutes of grace so far.
Yeah.
We're getting to the end. She's like, dude, grace is 10-minute max. That's what grace is. Okay. All right. So Jeremy, you have a list of people now. What I'd like you to do is just scatter, like E-Boogie gave us a couple, G-Money.
Yeah, I kind of
scatter them in there. How many do we have? What I'm going to do very simply, I'm going to put it on the screen. It's probably going to push some of us. We'll be little tiny heads on the side, but I'm going to put it on the screen, and we're just going to do a randomizer very, very simply. And it's going to, wherever that person is on the list, that's the person that's going to win. Jeremy has the list. I don't even know what the list looks like. So it's going to be on the level. How many do we have, Jeremy?
17 names.
Wow. All right. So here we go. I'm going to get the randomizer over here.
Some of them are repeats, of course, as we talked about.
And just scatter them. So for example, 1 and 6 kind of a thing. Okay.
Yeah, I scattered them out. So when they started,
right, so here we go. Now maybe next week we'll get Gunny's thing, and Gunny had a real neat little app, but I got to figure out, because we don't have the names and everything. Maybe Jeremy can do that. Maybe you can put their names in the app or something. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
All right. Let me do this. We'll make this nice and quick. Okay. What did it do to our heads? 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're all there. Nice. Okay, we did it. All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick between 1 and 17. Okay, we're just going to do it. Okay, you guys ready?
Watching the lottery. This is so exciting.
It is exciting. I feel nervous for some reason, Tyson. I don't know what happened. I'm like, oh my God.
Numbers are.
Wait. Who have the numbers been assigned to individuals yet?
I'm just going to count down the list. That's all.
Yeah, like, so where they are on the list. So they're just like, number 1 is E-Boogie, number 2 is G-Money, and we're just going to do it like that.
It's like,
so here we go, everybody. Lottery. We have 17 qualifiers, and here it comes. Look at that. Number 8 on the list.
Ooh.
Saw me do it, right?
Yep, number 8.
Just didn't. There wasn't much movement there.
I didn't like drum roll or something. No, that's just it.
Number 8.
There we go. I have a winner.
All right, who is it?
The winner is Leo Vernaccio.
Yeah. All right. Now he gave 2, right?
Leo.
He gave 2.
Yeah, Leo gave making sure it's just 2 and not 3. Yeah, he gave 2 super chats.
So there you go. So look at that. It's a true thing that when you give more, you increases your odds. So there you go.
Yeah, y'all
like
like give
that.
like 100 like 1
statistics.
cent chats, man. You'd have been a shoo-in to win.
Well, next week, I'm going to tell you this. Next week, it's going to be $5 and up because I need to have some value. Of course, we appreciate all super chats and you'll get your comment read and all that stuff. But it's going to be all the super chats from $5 up are going to be in the t-shirt giveaway because it costs us, I think it's like $12 for me to send it. To 12 to 15 bucks, something like that. But anyway, so we appreciate it, guys. And you know what you're going to do now, Leo, email me. My email's in the description of the video, but I'll tell you now, it's bean@greenbeanjetsfan.com. Go ahead and email me your address, but also go to greenbean.com. I think my merch link is in the description as well. So click on that and then pick your shirt, color, size for t-shirts. Give me your address and I'll send it out ASAP, like within the next year or so. Okay. I'll get it right over. No, I'll do it in a day. I'll do it in a day. So, all right, man. Well, look, Jeremy, thank you so much for all that you do. And, you know, I appreciate you catching the things that would have slipped by today. I got to figure something out with that because that's bullshit. Yeah, I got to figure that out. I got to talk to Ryan, see how he does it. But thank you. And guys, you can catch Jeremy at Jets Chaos and the soon to be Cravat Attack. They have a new food channel with the Cravat Brothers. It's going to be awesome. He'll let you know when that's live and we'll all go over there and support it. But Jeremy, thank you so much. And tell your wife we said hello and enjoy your dinner.
Will do. Take care, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Chaos.
Later, man.
There goes Jeremy. So let's go around the panel. Tyson, I appreciate you hanging out, man. Extra. It's nice, man. I'm very grateful. So thank you. Why don't you go first and let everybody know what it is you got coming, where they can find you. If you have a big event or anything, let us know what's going on.
Can I mention a fundraiser I'm doing real quick?
Absolutely.
So, as you know, GreenBean, we've talked about in the past, I'm a big mental health advocate, try to just promote awareness, breaking the silence, breaking the stigma. So 1 week from tomorrow, I'm doing a version of the David Goggins Challenge, which is 4.5 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So it'd be 54 miles in 48 hours. And the goal is to raise money and awareness for veterans that are dealing with PTSD. One of the things I've learned from the people that I teach in an MMA gym, and one of the guys I work out with has PTSD and he uses martial arts to help him deal with it. But he shared stories of his fellow brothers that struggle with all kinds of different things. And also the suicide rate is very, very high. Right now, I believe it's 13 veterans a day that are committing suicide due to symptoms from PTSD. So I'm doing this fundraiser and to raise awareness. I'm doing it a week from tomorrow. So you can see on our Facebook page, or it's all over the place. I'm all over my social media, everything like that. So if you want to donate, great. I have like a GoFundMe set up. We're selling t-shirts. But if you don't want to donate, that's completely cool. Just spread the word about our veterans dealing with PTSD, man, because it's very serious. It's very prominent. I'm not really sure why it's not being talked about enough, but it's not. So that's what I'm trying to do, man, is just raise money and awareness for that. And like I said, I'm Tyson Roush. If you guys don't know, it's Let's Talk Jets on YouTube, T-Roush21 on Twitter. And that's it, man. I appreciate you guys having me on too, man. It's always fun talking to you guys, man. And Gunny, nice meeting you, man. I got to follow you. This has been a blast.
It's a pleasure, Tyson. I mean, I've already followed you, bro. I love your content, dog. And to hear you saying that, dog, like being a veteran, I appreciate that, man. Like that to me is intense. Hey, listen, I'll donate a autographed mini helmet to those Darrell Revis autographed mini helmet to your foundation as well. We can do however you want to go ahead and do it. Let me know. Awesome. But brother, that's amazing. And what he's talking about doing, the 4.5 miles every 4 hours, that's insane. That's gonna hurt. So that's very much appreciated, brother. So in fact, while you're already here,
awesome, man.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the link while Gunny does that. Can I find it on Twitter? I'm going to post it in the chat right now. And when the video is over, I'm going to put it in on the top of our description as well. Matter of fact, when is the event happening?
I'm doing it a week from tomorrow. So
right, I'm going to put it in the top of every video that I make from now until that's done,
man.
As well. So Gunny, what were you going to say there?
Yeah. Hey, Tyson, I don't know how you want to do it, brother, but I want to donate this Darrell Revis autographed mini helmet. I'm going to also have it in a display case, so it's not going to be in this. Awesome, authentic and everything's already in there. However you want to go ahead and put this out there for for any of your donors, whatever the case might be. Let me know, brother. We can talk
off.
about
That'd
it.
be awesome.
But that is freaking awesome, brother. And it's a big issue. Very rarely do you have civilians who are this passionate about it and do what you're doing, man. I appreciate that. So any way I can help, let me know, man. Like that. I loved you before, man. Loving you even more right now, dog. So it's good to know that we've got individuals like you looking out for us, bro.
No, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, when the guy spoke to me, I'm like, I was clueless. I started researching it. So I found the foundation that's probably 10 minutes from me. And I started talking to the guy there. And what they do is they proactively reach out to veterans and say, listen, like, you know, come to a ball game with us. Like we have like a minor league baseball down the street, or come do this, or we have a fun run, or we have this, to get them out of the house and get them understanding what things they have around them, like what resources they can find to get help, like whether it's therapy or whatever little things that kind of help them. And it opened my eyes. I had no idea, dude. I had no idea. And the more you learn, and I speak to veterans now, and I'm like, holy shit, like, how is this not a bigger story? And then the suicide rate, I'm like, are you like,
that's ridiculous.
That's daily, dude.
Yeah,
that's
ridiculous.
Insane. So, like I said, I appreciate it, man. I'll hit you up after this. And I think as of now, like I raised like $1,700, which has been crazy. Cause I'm just kind of like a grassroots thing, man. I'm like, you know, I had sponsors make a t-shirt for me. I'm kind of going through it, but yeah, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, if anybody can spread the word, that'd be awesome. It's just, you know, it's something it's just really prevalent out there and needs to get attention.
Well, that's a long ass link I got there, but I copied that directly from the graphic.
The whole thing out.
So, hey, Tyson, if you wouldn't mind on the Twitter, like on our little thread, if you wouldn't mind sending me the appropriate link, again, absolutely. I'll post it all over the place.
I'll share that
and
everywhere.
You can find it on Let's Talk Jets Radio on Facebook, and I see it on Tyson Roush's Facebook as well. That's where I got this, but I mean, I don't know if the link, you want to click the link. Does it work? Does this work in there, Y2K?
I don't know.
And it looks like it's partial. I mean, I'll try clicking on it right now.
Let's see if that works. But Tyson, if you wouldn't mind.
Jets Radio. Yeah. It's
there it goes. Yeah, baby.
It worked.
I'm not old.
Yeah, I'll send it to you though, for sure, man. So
yeah,
like I said, and the one thing just so everybody knows, like I've done these things in the past for other different organizations. I offer full transparency. So throughout this entire race, this whole challenge, all over social media, part of my obligation is I post every 4 hours, like completed it. When the thing is done, whether I complete it or not, you see an actual receipt. When I send the money to the organization, you see everything I've done. Like all the money is fully transparent. Like I don't fuck around with that kind of stuff. So everything's out there, full blown. Like here's the money it's raised, here's money it's donated, here's where it went to, and everything else. So
amazing. Well, look, man, thank you for doing that. Did I lose Watu? Where the hell did you go?
I'm right
still there. I can see him.
It's weird on YouTube. Oh, you know what? It backed up. That's what it was. Sorry. Well, thank you for doing that, man. It's an impressive thing. As Tyson knows, I have all of my charity and extra work goes into mental health as well. It's what I've been doing for almost 20 years now. So I mean, Tyson and I have talked about this on the back end a few times, and it's just such a great thing that you're doing. Guys, I'm going to post a link on all my social media. I'm going to put the link in every video that I make until the event. And I want to also add that there's no fucking way I'm doing the event. So I love it.
Come on,
I respect it. No, Goggins. Dude, you know how much I listen? It's been a minute, but I listen to Goggins. Dude, that guy's incredible, man.
Yep. That guy's a machine.
What an inspirational guy.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know about Goggins, dude, you should just look him up. You're going to hate yourself or be you're immediately inspired one way or
literally the other. It's either you feel like less of an individual or you feel motivated to do more. Like there's no in between. Like the dude is an inspirational story. He's a walking inspirational, motivational story.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best. Well, so there you go, Tyson. Again, Let's Talk Jets Radio. Just I can't be more grateful for you coming on, man, and thank you for spending time with us. I'm gonna go around the panel, but you can bounce out of here, Tyson, if you'd like.
Good seeing you guys. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, thanks again, buddy.
Later, dude.
There he goes, Tyson Roush from Let's Talk Jets Radio. What a great thing he's doing there. And thank you, Gunny, for go ahead and donating that to him.
Yeah,
you guys should talk so he can figure out how to, use that. Yeah, awesome. Gunny, dude, you're a solid individual, man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That's just such awesome things that you're doing out here.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
All right, let's go. You know what, Jeff? I was just thinking of Jude Jets today. How crazy is that? I missed that little fella. Probably in school. Remember? Oh, real quick before Y2K and Jeremy had him on the show once.
I can't hear his name without thinking of that story.
Dude, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Really?
Like I felt for the kid, but he was on there. He's doing his thing, dude. He's just such a smart young football fan, right? He knows his shit, and he's talking, and all of a sudden the door swings open, and the mother comes in. He's like, and that was it.
You just see this big hand just come out of nowhere, and then fade to black. It was like it's like the end of a series. You're waiting. It's the end of a series. The end of the season. You're waiting for the next season. It's like the cliffhanger. And I think he's been in witness protection ever since.
Yeah, right. Amazing. I want to. I got to reach out to him. I've had him on. I think 2 or 3 times. I've had him on the show. He's such a great kid, and I love him, man. But Y2K, why don't you tell everybody what you got coming up, buddy?
Man, alive. After what Tyson talked about, I don't even know what to talk about at this point. I mean, I've got a 5-mile race coming up St. Patrick's Day weekend, but after hearing what he's doing, man, I'm ready to push for the half marathon. Maybe.
There you go. Get in on it.
I don't
See
know.
that?
That takes a little bit more training, but I'll just try to do the best 5 miles that I can do. But as far as videos go, you could find me at NY Sports Wicker Media. I've done I did 3 videos in about a 12-hour span. Did one on the Mets, one on the Rangers, and I did 20 minutes on 15 different free agent targets that the Jets could go after. So I put that up, I believe, yesterday morning. And I've got another video that I'm going to be working on over the next day or two, breaking down every free agent that the Jets have. We're going to look at them, figure out, does it make sense to keep them, to let them go? So be on the lookout for that. And hey, we thank everybody for watching the show and checking out our content. It means a lot to us.
Awesome. And Matthias Simon, my old buddy, checking in as well. He runs the Facebook page called The Greenhouse. He's also going to post Tyson's link over there as well. I got to say, man, I'm just routinely, I shouldn't be surprised by it, but I'm routinely touched. It's very potent the way that the Jets community comes together. Obviously, last week we had a fundraiser for Nick, and that went swimmingly well. We exceeded our goals with that one, and now with Tyson and all. I really want to just thank everybody. You guys are the absolute best. For a bunch of toxic shitheads, we do all right out here, don't we? We do all right. So Gunny, what do you got? Let everybody know what's coming up. If you want to direct them somewhere specific, what's going on?
Yeah, you can catch me on YouTube, New York Situation Report, Twitter, as well as Facebook and Instagram. I've been getting a lot of people talking about I need to get back on my Taco Tuesdays with Gunny show. I got to go ahead and start incorporating more time to get back in that live atmosphere. But I finally got my verification taken care of with YouTube, so I'm getting back on the horse and starting to pressing submit for some of my videos. So content's going to be streaming again. So I appreciate you guys for the love, the support, man. And yeah, y'all can catch me here every Thursday, though, until GreenBean fires me.
That's right. Which is coming in the next week or so.
I thought you were still on probation.
Well, look, I love having you here, Gunny, and I don't see that coming. All right, but look, before we move on, I'm sorry to do the post outs, and then we're gonna do. But I saw Crossfire in here, and I don't want to leave you hanging. It's a weird question, so why not? We'll close with this today, everybody. What's the biggest animal you all think you can fight and win in a fist fight? Gunny, go first. You're the Marine. What's the biggest animal you're taking out with your bare hands?
I think bare hands. I could probably take out a koala bear. I feel pretty confident that bare hands I could take out a koala bear. I know they got sharp teeth and sharp claws. You got to avoid those things, but they got some soft faces. They got soft faces and small skulls. I think I could go ahead and get a couple of hits in, put one of those things to sleep, and then call it a day, right? Biggest animal, yeah, I think that's about as big as I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
fantastic because they have soft faces and small skulls. I love it. Y2K, who you taking out?
You know what? I don't quite have the extensive training that Tyson and Gunny have, so I think I got to stay within my weight class. I'm trying. It seems like every animal. I'm somewhere between like a badger and a lion. I got to find somewhere like a happy medium. I was actually thinking. See, I know I could take out a penguin, My problem is I'm worried there's going to be about 100 other Penguins coming right behind him.
They're going to jump you.
Oh, they're going to,
jump
it'll
you.
be game
They're
warfare
gonna
on
jump.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need no Penguins jumping me, but if I could get one locked up in a room somewhere, I'm pretty confident I could shut him up.
All right. Well, you got koala bears and penguins. I'll
Cocaine
tell you what.
koala. Yes.
I'll tell you.
Cocaine koala.
This is fantastic. Jeffrey says a mouse. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna stay in my lane, right? And take care. I think if I could grab like a nice big cat, like somebody that could totally fuck me up, but I'd grab its head and its legs, just fucking stretch it like that. That's what I would do. Do that to a rabbit too. I'm not afraid of many rabbits out there these days. I think I could take on most rabbits. So I don't know, man. Maybe like a decent sized bobcat or something. You're gonna know it's there. It's gonna kick your ass. I think I'll kill it. That's what
I'm trying to think of an animal that doesn't have like prominent teeth. I think maybe that's why I went to the penguin. Yeah, I don't want to deal with the bite marks. So I guess I was dealing with that was my first a baby kangaroo.
He just says a baby kangaroo.
JW says that koala is going to eat that day and kick Benny's ass.
I see muskrat. Okay,
a dolphin because he hates my. Now see you staying on theme. Thank you, Paris. That was good.
I like that.
Nathan says a chicken.
Right? You catch a little chicken.
Look at this one. Fat
Cocaine
Gandalf says
bear.
cocaine bear. I don't know, buddy.
Yeah, nah, I've seen the commercials for that movie. I ain't messing with no cocaine
can't
bear.
even
That
believe
looks
it.
like the most. That movie looks like so awesomely bad, but it looks amazing. Like you need to be wasted.
You have to watch
or
it.
something to watch
You've got to watch it. Yep.
You got to be like out of The drunker you are, you can't watch that movie alone. You got to be like with friends and out of it.
So you can make fun of it as you're watching it.
Exactly. There we go.
Right. So Crossfire, the initiate of the question, says he's got his eyes set on a llama. Punch a llama right in the damn face, right in the jaw. I take on a llama. Okay. You just got to make sure he's on the other side of the fence. Don't go into the fence with a bunch of llamas and start talking some shit.
Yeah,
they'll get you like ostriches.
Yeah, they take shit talk personally. The llamas do.
That's right. They do. They do. I've heard that. They take it very personally, very low tolerance for shit talking. I've heard. So anyway, you know what, guys? I'm going to end this stream, but I don't know. I'm in a weird mood. I might open up another one in a little bit and start. I want to talk some combine. We didn't get into any combine, so I might do that. Keep your eyes open in the next 15 minutes. Well, we might pull a late nighter. But that said, we're going to end the Thursday thick of it. We had a nice 3-hour show. Thank you to Gunny and to Y2K and Jeremy, but in particular, let's thank our guests, Luke from Play Like a Jet and Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio. They were fantastic. Next week, guys, we're going to have one of my Tier 3 beanbaggers and their Tier 3 benefit of being the guest on the Thursday thick of it, Wyatt, a new Jets fan, a Marine. He's in Camp Pendleton right now. Ooh. He comes to us live when we talk to him. He's in his barracks. He's got to shoo people. He's got to shoo other Marines from making fun of him for choosing the Jets. He's a great dude. He's a young guy. We love Wyatt in the Beanbaggers, and he's only been a Jets fan for like a year and a half. And boy, oh boy, is he's already sully, man. He's already
I can't wait to hear that story.
Sour.
Why now? That'd be my first question.
Why
so he'll be
why now?
He'll be our 8 to 9 guest, and then 9 to 10. We're going to wrap up next week with none other than Connor Hughes is going to make his return to the channel. So we'll have a good time. We got a lot of questions. We're going to try to get some info from Connor, man. He's been asking some good questions of late. I'm proud of him, man. I think he's turning a corner. He's getting like interesting to me. So we're going to have Connor Hughes on. It's always fun to talk to him. And guys, I want to thank you for being here. If you haven't hit the milk thumbs on the way out, go ahead and do that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And don't forget about the Manscaped deal, our sponsor for this show. You can save 20% on all of your Manscaped products by using the promo code GreenBean at checkout. The link to the website's in the description. By all means, tell them GreenBean sent you. They'll take 20% off your bill. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And I thank everybody for being here. You guys have a great night, and maybe I see you in a few minutes. See you, everybody.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, baby.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over there and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all
frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.